We started the season with 180 teams encompassing 150 different schools. We find ourselves at day one of the playoffs where only 64 remain. On my whole shift with me to start things off for playoffs is Camber. How you doing there, brother? Looking good, looking sharp. Hopefully you're feeling good as well.
Oh, Alan, what a journey it has been this year to get to this point. I mean, I really can't wait for the competition level to go up just even more. Got a great set of matches here to start things off, and it's a pleasure to be here with you, of course. And I mean, that hype video, are you kidding me? Like, hair on my arms, literally standing up right now. Couldn't be more excited. It feels like a national holiday for Call of Duty fans as we're getting ready for what is March Madness of Call of Duty.
I like that. I think we should definitely be at least a hallmark holiday when it comes down to college COD playoffs for sure. Hey, let's take a look at the schedule because there's, again, 3 days to look forward to here across 4 different channels. But specifically for the Alpha channel today, we'll be looking at both the Eastern and Western regions going through the round of 64 opening matches. And then, of course, the round 2, which would be the round of 32. And, well, Cameron and I will be on the first set of matches for 7 and 8:30, but then you'll be joined later on in the Western sphere going through the same exact rounds. Saturday is a marathon. Make sure you're buckling yourself up and make sure you call your family, your doctors, or whatever appointments you have and clear your schedule. We've got a round of 16 going all the way through all of the quarterfinals, both semifinals, and then we'll conclude the evening with one final lower round matchup late into that lower bracket, and then Championship Sunday. Feels good to say those 2 words again. Lower round 8 to start things off at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Of course, we'll go through both the upper, lower finals, and then as well the grands. Cam, it's going to be nuts. I mean, I don't even know where to begin outside of the fact that we have to begin at the top.
Yep, got to start with this match here, and it's a great one to start. I think there is a clear-cut favor in this, and to me, I'm looking at Liberty Red, but at the same time, I think Full Sail has just as much an opportunity in this match, and I really think this map set is an interesting one. I think it favors them, Alan, especially when you're looking at maps 2 and 3. Not a lot of experience on either sides in Miami Search and Destroy, and then when it gets to that raid control, that's been Full Sail's map and mode all year long. They're undefeated 10-0, so I really think they have a pretty solid chance at making an upset happen here.
Indeed, and just to kind of look at the bracket, Liberty Red, Full Sail Armada right there in match number 2. Winner of this match will have to eventually go up and play up against Concord Maroon. Not an easy feat when they're sitting at 17-0, nearly picture perfect. And then just below this, you see that Ryerson have already defeated, and I actually think they got forfeited through by Old Dominion Blue. Same thing with Florida State Garnett getting past the Florida State Gold squad. And as we kind of look a little bit further down, Bama Crimson and Eagles COD Blue, that is a Bravo matchup that is happening right now. So that's essentially just a look at the top side of the eastern part of the bracket that we'll be looking throughout. Again, you can find all the information on the bracket if you want to follow along kind of simultaneously with us by going to the College COD website, collegecod.com. I think /playoffs, I think is what gets you there. But as mentioned, hey, current match coming up next and coming up to start ourselves off. Liberty Red going up against Full Sail. Taking a look at Liberty to start things off. 14-3 with the regular season. They did drop 15 maps though, and you were saying a lot about what this team has to do if they want to try to beat this Full Sail squad because their hard point has been good, their control has been good, their search has been just kind of okay.
Yeah, this is the team I'm looking at to win, and I really think they have the slaying advantage. There's going to be, I mean, yes, you're going to be winning a lot of your gunfights. Mental and Toddy, kind of the 2 guys have been carrying a lot of the weight this year. Not only do they have to be winning gunfights, but I really think they have to be focusing on the hill, playing those rotations. I feel like in Cold War, your submachine gun players, although you might not realize it, they really are the ones picking up a lot of information on the front line. They're the ones influencing the spawns. So really have to be thinking that extra step ahead, making sure you're not putting your ARs on the back line in a tough spot. But really looking at Mental and Toddy, especially Mental. I mean, he's the guy, almost the Abizi of this team. First one in, going to start the gunfights. Toddy's going to have to be huge, coming in second, picking up some of those trades wherever they are.
And again, the respawn for Liberty has definitely carried them through their regular season. They had a handful of very tight matches, including an opening match versus the Ohio State Scarlet team. That is definitely no easy opponent whatsoever. But as they got into the second split, really the only losses they had that were really terrible were just a bad loss to UTK Orange and then a Game 5 match versus LA Tech Red. This team actually, to be completely honest, their 3 losses are actually good losses to have. So definitely something to kind of keep in the back of your mind. And I think one of the reasons why I'm sure you probably consider them to be a favorite. But on the other side, for the Full Sail Armada, the away team here coming in, they had a really solid regular season as well. And it's just been surprising because, let's be honest, they finished off their Modern Warfare playoff run not to the tune they were hoping to carry. And they again found themselves in a pretty difficult overall group when it comes to the region. They found themselves in having to play up against the E4 Knights, the top Georgia Southern team, also had to play up against the top Florida State team. Not good opponents you want to be playing early on to the season, but they still found themselves into the second split, in which they only lost a single series there, Cameron.
Yeah, they had a great end to the season. And when I look at this matchup, I really look at Full Sail as a team that has to be playing more together. I mean, Void and Frequency, another that duo to pay attention to, the AR SMG duo this time, are going to have to be pulling their weight. But at the same time, you got players on the other end who have been slipping a little bit this year. Sneak and Breezy, although you're not going to be doing a lot of killing, it feels like you're really going to have to play your roles well, have to be filling into the hill, making sure that you're picking up on trades where you can, but also making sure that your positioning on the map isn't setting your team up poorly for rotations. There's a lot to be paying attention to, but I think Void and Frequency, definitely the guys to watch for, have been carrying the weight all season. And then I really think that control in game 3, you're 10-0 on raid. To get that in the map set you really have to be looking at that as an advantage. And then in the search and destroy, I mean, we look at things. Liberty hasn't played it yet this year, so you might be able to throw some wild cards out there, try to steal a map, because you're definitely going to have to get at least one of these first two, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a brilliant segue because all those maps are listed right above our noggins over there. And I think, you painted out really nicely. Have not seen Liberty Red play on the Miami Search and Destroy through the regular season as of yet. Only one sample size for Full Sail, so I mean, take from that what you will. But yes, the big key is the fact that you did get that very pivotal raid control into the map set if you're Full Sail. Because I think we were talking about this before the match has come to this, we're here on stream. Full Sail needs to do well in the respawn here. You need to take at least 2 of them, because there's really no way that I think we're looking at this matchup and sitting there and saying that Full Sail will win 2 S&Ds for sure. Could they? Yeah, absolutely. But it's not, I don't think you want to label that as your win condition if you're the Full Sail Armada.
Right, and I think your best chance is in map 2. If it does go to that Moscow, things aren't going to be looking as pretty. You have to think Liberty, more of a slay-heavy search and destroy map, are going to have the advantage there. I absolutely agree with you, Alan. But again, I just really feel like for Full Sail, it has to come as a team here. You have to expect Liberty to be the ones trying to set the pace of play. And if that becomes the case, don't start to play into it. Don't just keep running into gunfights and sprinting into gunfights. You got to probably take that second to slow things down, take a deep breath, turn to your captain. He's going to have to be the one making sure that the comms are in check. Hit those long routes if you have to, because if it starts to spiral out of control, Liberty can really run away with it.
Yeah, and I will say this much, just kind of looking over the map set, for Full Sail, you did a really nice job of making sure that Liberty is not getting their comfortable map picks. You're not getting them on the raid search and destroy, which they've played 12 times out of the 17 total searches they've played. You got them off of both Garrison and not the raid hardpoint, but you're going to get that first. That's kind of the key thing. So if you can keep them tight, you've got a lot of favor, I think, built up for what's coming down the road. So I think really good job when it comes to the veto process here for Full Sail overall. But this still is a little bit of a struggle. I mean, you've got, a team that, like you mentioned, did start to pick things up in the tail end of the season. But honestly speaking, for Full Sail, not a lot of great high top tier quality wins in their regular season so far, even including that group stage they found themselves through. So this will be a really big test, and I'm sure one that Full Sail will not like seeing at the first matchup that they have in their bracket.
Right, Liberty really is a strong team. Like you said, they don't really have a bad game mode. Yes, hardpoint and the respawns are their go-tos, but search and destroy isn't that bad either. 11-6 is nothing to scoff at. Really feels like they're going to be in a good spot in this series. But for Full Sail, like I say, it's just going to have to come down to playing together, making sure that you're keeping track too of these 2 SMG players. You really have to slow down Mental and Toddy, because if they can find something early in the game, they're going to be even harder to shut down later on. I mean, I told you at the beginning, we saw a series earlier too, where if Liberty are the ones who fall behind, I've seen crazy comeback. I've casted a crazy comeback earlier this year. It was 218-60. They came all the way back and ended up losing by only 15 points. So hard to even count this Liberty team out if they were to fall behind. Again, though, you say raid is the first map. I think for Full Sail, although Liberty's had a lot of success on that, it's one that every team has plenty of experience coming in on, so you can definitely play off that. Got to be paying attention to 2, 3, and 4. Those hills are so big, money hills on raid. But, I mean, I guess, yeah, Liberty is the favorite, but it's the playoffs, Alan. Anything goes at this point. You really have, it's so hard. It's a flip a coin.
Things have already gone in upset fashion. I don't know. We're waiting on the lobby still to come through. A couple of the tech problems getting everyone to the neutral lobby. So maybe we have a chance to kind of peruse through the bracket a little bit here while we're waiting for this first map to come up. One of the big upsets, I think, first and foremost, is you take a look. If we could maybe scroll down a little bit, you see at the very bottom of your screen, Penn State loses in a map 5 to McMaster and the Marauders. That's the number 7 seed, beating what was a big favorite, not just last year, but with a continued 4-man roster carrying into Cold War. I think expectations were really high for that Penn State squad. And honestly speaking, they really did not provide throughout the regular season too much. And even more so the case here, losing in upset form to the MSC Marauders.
Right, and what's a college sports tournament without some upsets? I'm sure it's not the only one we're going to see. The Marauders have had a great end of the season as well, though. They really were trending towards this kind of thing. For Penn State, now you got to go down to the losers bracket, make a long run. You're not out of it just yet. I think that's what's so great about this system that we have here is that there's a losers bracket to run through. But for the Marauders, how about the start? I mean, now you get up into that next round. You still have that loss to fall back on. But like you said, taking down a team like Penn State to start is the momentum you look for in a tournament like this.
Oh, for sure. And the thing about it is, look at who they play up against next. They've got either the Alabama Crimson or you've got Eagles Cod Blue, which is the second team from Georgia Southern. Hey, that's also an opportunity you feel like where, okay, maybe, Bama or Eagles will get past JCSU. But if MAC can take down either of the Tennessee Knoxville teams that are coming up before them, that's not a terrible matchup for your round of 16. I mean, you want to talk about, your Loyola Chicago kind of
Right.
legendary Cinderella runs. I'm looking no further than MAC to potentially do just that. I don't know if we have a chance to scroll down a little bit further, see what else is happening here with the Western side of things that'll be happening later on. I think one to definitely keep your eye on is not just the UTK versus UTK squad, but the one right there at the very bottom, the Carleton Ravens going up against Rutgers Scarlet. That's the number 4, number 5, both teams at 13-4. I believe we have the ability to kind of do live look-ins with that match as we go on, but that'll be another really, really interesting one with two teams that have duked it out before.
Yeah, and I mean, Carleton to me is a team that I've been paying attention to all year long. I really think Lurid 47. I mean, I don't know that I've seen anybody move quite like him, shoot quite like him. It feels like they have the capability of winning any given match that they get in front that they're set into. I mean, they have that explosive factor to them where they can really just go on a slew and you can't stop them from there. So I really think if Lurid is shooting straight like he has been all season long, they're a team that can absolutely make waves throughout this bracket.
Well, that will pretty much go with all the way through the eastern side of the bracket. Again, coming up later in the evening, we'll be transitioning over to the western side of what's happening in the round of 64 and the round of 32. Ole Miss, they do get kind of a free pass through Ohio State. That'll also be another team to kind of keep your eye on for. And as we get a little bit further down, number 4, number 5, North Texas, Arizona State Maroon. That one will be happening right here on the mainstream. You've got that one with Morgan. Maybe you could give us a little bit of teasers as far as maybe some expectations we should have for that one coming up at the later date.
Yeah, I think that's one that's really, really well matched for both teams. It's kind of hard to pick a winner, especially in that one. But I think North Texas is what I'm going with right now. But I mean, it's another one of those ones where it's so hard to decide. I mean, ASU Maroon have absolutely had a great year to this point. I just think for North Texas, they have that extra advantage. But what also is so important too, you get these map sets a little closer to the starting of the game. That obviously plays such a big role, so you kind of have to wait and see. But I think for me right now, just barely, I have North Texas. That one could be going the distance as well.
And then just below that, a little bit further on, Oregon Green, UTA Blue. Don't sleep on that 6v3 matchup because for Texas Arlington, candidly speaking, they have been very vocal about how they think they should be a top 25 team for sure. Whereas Oregon have not really convinced all of the voters about their top 25 status because their 2 losses were 2 matches that I think everyone was looking at saying, you need to win these if you want to try to be retaining a top 25 spot. The Pacific Division was difficult for sure, but the 2 losses that Oregon carry are pretty abusive ones. So I would not sleep on that University of Texas Arlington Blue squad to potentially find a little bit of an upset versus the Ducks there.
Yeah, and what I think is so great about this bracket in the season as a whole is, there's those powerhouse teams that you're expecting to probably make the top 4, the Ottawas, the Georgia Southerns. But at the same time, there's those dark horse teams too that you cannot sleep on that can make those kind of runs. For me, I think it's like a Carleton who just have so much firepower. There's star players on a lot of teams that really have to carry the brunt of the load. But if they're doing it and everybody's filling in those roles on the side, all of a sudden they can make that kind of that miracle run towards the later stages. So I think that's what's so special to see. And there has to be at least one of those dark horse teams. It's just a matter of what team it's going to be. So definitely have to keep your eyes peeled and paying attention to what is 4 streams throughout the playoffs. Unbelievable stuff. What more could you ask for as a Call of Duty fan?
Not much, if I'm being completely honest with you. Taking a look a little bit further down the road, the other Arizona State team will be playing up against Texas State. That's another 6v3 matchup that could get interesting. It's really funny just talking more about the Sun Devils out of Arizona State. 2 teams I believe Maroon is supposed to be the better team, but I think they both exited with the same win-loss record. So maybe not as much convincing nature coming from their main team than from their second team, but still maybe on the other side, hey, both teams are playing around the same even level. That could provide for Arizona State making some upsets happen down the road. And then don't sleep on number 8, Tulsa. They really impressed us a lot when they were coming through the regional qualifier and even in the second stage throughout their Southwestern division. They played extremely good COD and would be a team that I think you could expect to once more, maybe not take down a team like Cal State Long Beach, but definitely make a run in that lower bracket for sure.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy to beat Cal State. I have them going pretty deep, but like you said, they have been making waves through the final stages of the season, have really been starting to find their form, and that's also so important here as you're trying to peak at the right time. It's just like the Pro League. If you're getting to COD champs, this is the COD champs of the CCL, so you want to be peaking at the right time. Tulsa's starting to do that, so you're absolutely right. They could be making a run in the losers bracket, no doubt.
And then just below that, DePaul, St. Clair. Don't sleep on the Saints. They have played
Yeah.
very, very well in the last couple of weeks. And that DePaul team, to be completely honest, not to sort of throw shade so early onto the playoffs, but they had a really easy region to get through. So 11-3 looks good, but honestly speaking, those 3 losses were versus the only really 3 solid teams that they faced in their whole regular season. So I would not be really too surprised to see an upset come through from the Saints there, even though the win-loss records are a little bit more egregious. And then right there in the middle, UT Dallas Orange and New Mexico State. Another one that could get really interesting because New Mexico State, I mean, had a chance to watch them play during the regional qualifier run that they went on. And honestly speaking, they impressed me. They looked really, really solid. They're playing a really good coordinated game. And I don't know, if UTD comes out a little bit slow, there could be potential for an upset there as well, I think, in my mind.
I absolutely agree. New Mexico State, really good control team, which is so important, obviously, to win that swing map. I mean, a lot of people are looking at UTD and thinking that maybe it's not their year, but you always have to fall back too on experience, especially when it gets to these moments. Composure obviously becomes so important. The fact that they've been in these kind of situations, they know that they can at least win. They know they have it in them. I think that is a lot to draw on. So as much as I understand where people are coming from with UTD, I do think they have that flip a switch factor where they can turn it on here knowing it's the playoffs. And I don't expect them to lose that game, but like you say, Alan, I definitely think it's not going to be one they win 3-0 by any means.
No, yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not. And, that's the other kind of interesting thing is we get to a situation with a lot of these squads that, found themselves maybe not so favorably in the win-loss category, but were in the top cut of their region.
Right.
They get good practice. And if you can really assess, get to the lab and sit there and say, okay, let's make these small adjustments, these corrections, you could come out in better form than you might figure when it comes down to playoffs overall. So yeah, I think there's a lot of teams on this list that we're looking at and sitting there and saying, hey, yeah, absolutely. There's potential for them that they could maybe find upsets, or beyond that, I think more realistically, maybe make a huge lower round or lower bracket run. We saw a number of schools do that last year, and I think we're probably in for more storylines like that this year.
Yeah, you got to have that optimist mindset where losing a lot of times can almost be seen as more of a positive because now you have stuff to learn from. You can improve, right? I mean, if you're winning, what's there to improve? Obviously, there's always stuff. But I think losing in a lot of ways, like you're saying, being in that top cut, playing the tougher competition, it absolutely prepares you more for these kind of moments. And if you're a team that's been 3-0ing, 3-1ing teams all year long, well, what's going to happen when you get to that game 5? How are you going to handle that kind of pressure? Those are the questions you kind of have to be asking for those teams that are used to those situations. They're going to be in a better spot coming down the stretch in the bracket.
Indeed. We are getting everyone into lobby, so sorry for the small pause and the little podcasting over the bracket, but hey, it's always good to get a nice little look as far as what is happening across all the matches that you're going to be able to see throughout, not just today, but of course the rest of the weekend. So kind of turning the conversation right back over to Liberty Red versus Full Sail. Both teams historically in their time playing for the CCL have found a lot of success. Maybe more in prior years than the one that we're currently in, but I think for Liberty Red, this has been a really nice put together season for them. Yeah, they're coming in as the 4th seed, but they auto qualified for playoffs, didn't have to go up the regional quals. And to be fair, they were in a pretty tough region, generally speaking. So the fact that they were able to get to 4th is still a very good accomplishment. Just comes down to, can you take those strides of success and turn it into results immediately? Because the last thing you want to do if you're either of these two teams, I mean, very obviously, I'm going to say it, is find yourself in a lower round 1 matchup. That means that to get to the money, to get into the position to where you can actually contend for maybe a good share of that $25,000 prize pool, you have to win a lot with your back up against the wall.
Yeah, and I think it's like you said, there's been so much experience in the league. Almost for Liberty, you've almost been playing with a target on your back for a long time now. And you mentioned
That's
earlier the
fair.
Louisiana Tech loss. It goes to game 5. Although you lose that again, I think that's almost a positive because you get that chance to face adversity, to have a series go down the stretch. You're kind of ready for when it gets to those moments if it does here today. But it's both teams that have kind of had that situation
Right.
with the target on their back. Everybody knows they're a team to beat. So yeah, it's just a matter of everything culminating to this point. How ready are you? What kind of I think the composure element too is just so huge in the playoffs. Like, yeah, sure. Oh, this is a big game. It's split 2. This is for seeding. But when it starts to come down to this is okay, we lose this, we might be going home or we're going to the losers bracket. The intensity just heightens there. So it's really going to be interesting to see who can handle these clutch moments better than the other.
Well, no more talking. Let's get into the gameplay. Let's jump in. I mean, we're still going to be talking, but at least we'll have some game to be talking over as we go through. And, well, it's going to be the side of Liberty Red trying to stretch us on the deep side of the map to start, and that will lead to Full Sail having an advantage around the hard point itself. And with a 3-for-1 exchange, good stuff here for the Full Sail Armada to retain control of the left side of the minimap and also get a little bit of progress on the hard point.
Yeah, I'm not so sure how I feel about that early long route. I feel like just go right to the hill. For Liberty, it seems like you should be winning the slaying battle in this game. Take it straight to them and play that aggressive style you've had all season long. Right now, a little bit of a flank from Void's going to be huge to find 2. And it's pretty scrappy right now, but Full Sail, this is a great start to the game that they were looking for.
Absolutely incredible start to the game. I mean, very regularly we see this hill get highly contested, and I would say beyond that, just very rarely do we see potentially 40 seconds worth of time generated here for the Armada. So really good stuff for them. And how about this lockdown? They want to make sure that basketball stays safe. Frequency trying to work around the flank. Did see Mental jump the window, but has lost all of his compatriots, so we'll have to back away, wait, and see if he can maybe just do some influence towards the spawn while the other players for Full Sail are trying to work their way over.
It's a great answer for Red, yeah, to get control of this, but they're not out of the woods just yet. Nice little setup right now forming for Full Sail, coming from a couple different angles. Frequency going to be big now, coming in from behind. Can he get some of these kills on these players who are hurt on the hill? He can't do it. That SMG front line for Liberty starting to heat up a little bit. Exactly what they're looking for. Toddy back on the hill, starting a bit of a streak here with 3.
Yeah, I don't know. I just got wondering, is that maybe just a little bit too passive for Full Sail? Just kind of rotating through the backside, playing for spawns, and then giving up a lot of the middle of the map because of it. And now all of a sudden, you've got Liberty Red members really fighting for every single second. And with these last couple of spawns from the backside, this should lock down the entirety of the scrap for Liberty. So that is going to be not just a tie game at 40, but the Liberty Flames are going to find themselves the lead for the first time.
Yeah, and I do like this decision from Void to play up into Zig, cut off some of these routes on the rotation rather than going all the way back to the garage hill. And right now, almost finding a big 2-piece. He's going to go down. Spawns are going to be out towards the ring side for Full Sail. A lot of pressure right now on Breezy is the only one into hill to at least just buy some time. They trade punches. Roar is going to win it. He gets in the power spot over by the van. It's another big break for Liberty. Maybe a chance here. Yep, as these kills come through, they're going to be on the point. A chance to extend a bit of a lead.
Comes down to can Full Sail actually break through in this first attempt. We'll get a spawn out situation, but there has not been a single kill until Void has a word in this discussion. Finds himself, he wants the 3rd place for it, and he will single-handedly stop the spawns and break the hill. Nobody else in Full Sail really even found any damage, and Void's not done yet. Finds the 4th, and how about Liberty? They're going to turn tail and run. This is going to be the scrap time for Full Sail. They're right back in this.
Getting that scrap time, but now you got to make the long run across the basketball court. And so often it can become a 1v1 gunfight on P3 there to win that scrap time or that final 30 seconds even because you have to chalk it so early. Now here comes the moment for Full Sail. A lot of decision making to be had here as you got to rotate all the way around. These 2 players trying to do it together. That's almost an impossible gunfight to win under Roar by this tree. Big one to open things up. Knows the second player is there in Frequency. Finding that as well. Perfect start here for Liberty on this rotation. Picking up all the kills. Are they going to be ready for the spawns? They are. They continue to find him over by the pool. And this is Full Sail starting to get thrown in a bit of a trap.
Yeah, this is a really nice little zone here for Mental playing inside a Tiki. You can see Full Sail really don't want to contest them. They're going to decide to go towards the middle of the map, and Toddy is just feasting. One by one they come, and similarly so they will fall. Toddy not done yet, finds himself on 1 HP and a 4 spree and says, yeah, that's enough for me to challenge apparently. He eventually gets punished for that decision, but still, they've locked down the first 40 seconds with no one even stepping foot onto the hard point. So this has been a major swing when it comes to the score overall. And Liberty are going to get a full 60 here on basketball. This is going to require a huge bounce back on this fifth hard point for Full Sail.
Yeah, that was a huge hold there. Now this rotation, it feels like Liberty's starting to find some momentum, which is the last thing you want if you're Full Sail. This is a big moment to get onto this next hill. They are going to have players inbound, but here comes the pinch routes maybe from Liberty. A couple players hitting from the kitchen side, one player coming from pool. Sneaky's in a big spot, finding that first kill. The second one into Roar, not going to happen. It becomes an all-out bloodbath here in the pit. Right now, trade's going in favor of Full Sail. Exactly what you're looking for. One more player to deal with. Then you got to start to focus on where these players are coming off spawn.
Yeah, really good start here for Full Sail. They'll get to the sentry mark. Just comes down to what happens on this next rotation for Liberty, because them spawning by basketball, they need to make a decision of, do we want to push to the old hill or just set up for new? And it looks like it's going to be maybe a little bit of both. Mental playing through the open staircase. Toddy trying to pinch from the opposite side of the SMGs for Liberty. They shine when they need to. 135 plus to the 107 of Full Sail. And beyond that, with the Armada spawning over by Garage, they're going to be late to this rotation to get over to the first hill. This is going to be all down to, can they win the initial gunfights? And Curb and Roar say, nope, not going to give you a chance. 3 members will fall, and Liberty surely will get over the 150-point mark, no problem.
Yeah, Liberty is starting to find some success stringing hills together, going from the scrap time of one to the initial time on another. Although right now, some interesting spawns coming through. They're going to have to be turning their heads a couple different ways. Frequency definitely needs to step things up at 4 and 12. The AR player here for Full Sail is really being outplayed by Roar and company, but it's just been Toddy as well. And the front line with the submachine gun has been all over the point, finding streaks. If maybe this might be the chance to work towards that artillery. The spawn's back in check for Liberty. It's a big moment for Full Sail where this game is hitting a tipping point. It could get out of hand.
Snowball City here in a moment. 20-9 for Toddy, 20-10 for Roarer. And how about it? Than will get himself on 7. That's going to be good for the artillery. Also wants the cruise missile if he can just find one more elimination. But you can see he really is investing into getting the second spree online. Meanwhile, it looks like Toddy did fall, not ability to grab any streaks of his own. So Full Sail have mitigated some bit of damage, wanting to still play forward as Mental, and goodness, he's finessed the heck out of Void, who eventually finds the first and the second. That's going to be a shutdown on Roar, and with 3 straight kills for Full Sail, they have the opportunity not just to get into the hard point, they can influence the back spawns.
It's going to be a close spawn. Yep, got to still find a couple more kills at the backside. You got Mental finding one, so that's at least going to create the distraction on the backside. Frequency's forced to watch this back angle, but he's got players coming in from different sides. Mental, a big challenge. Frequency's starting to find himself a little bit. That's a big kill. There's still players all around the hill to look for. Now everybody coming from the front side. Huge kills from Full Sail to at least slow this down to one avenue to push from. You got a player coming from money. He's going to be big there. Breezy trades all over the hill, but this is Full Sail winning out. Huge stuff. The final 25 seconds could be huge and almost tying this game up.
You want to talk about a tipping point? How about the ability to tip the scales in your favor? You deny the cruise missile, you deny Toddy the chance for streaks, and you break through for the hard point in the spawns to make this what will essentially be a dead even game. So things were about to get dicey, but now all of a sudden Full Sail turning up. It's going to be 3 kills in a row towards the garage. That will win them the rotation to new, especially if Void can continue to lock down mid-zig, which it looks like he will. Liberty Red, tough decision to be made here. How exactly do you want to go apart and try to break this next setup? Looks like it's going to be a 2-2 split. And while Void, he's in a prime position to cut off one of the 2 angles. Sneaky's going to do the opposite by finding the angle through water, and that's going to be enough for Full Sail to lock down the first 20 seconds.
Yeah, we've seen Void play the zig position, pushed up out front so well a couple times this game, making it tough for the players to push through zig, even through ring as well, cutting down all these lanes. And I really like that, pushing up. Don't let them even get close to the hill, keeping the pressure on. As Breezy finds 2, Frequency has really started to get himself going after a rough start. That's been huge for Full Sail, and they're in the lead now, stringing them together. Momentum all in their favor, but again, you got to make this cross-map rotation.
And this is where Liberty was so good in the first rotation, with a very similar setup here for the second. Void has found Roar up top by Laundry, but the shots from Mental, beautiful at range. Alleviating some pressure from the north side of the minimap. Now feeling a little bit extra pressure to the middle, decides to play his life, and wisely so. So now it falls under the shoulders of Toddy. Here comes the hit for Breezy. He will find the first elimination. Maybe an opportunity here for Full Sail to break through faster than they had prior, but Roar is already here trying to hold things down. Void moving forward, but the spawns were still good for Liberty, and they come away for a 3-for-1 exchange. Still looking good here on Basketball Hardpoint.
I like the move from Full Sail to push through kitchen. I think that's the way you have to make things happen, but obviously the kills come through on the other side for Liberty. Huge stuff. Now another wave as you have to reset. They're going to go back through kitchen, able to find that opening. Another player finding one near the hill. This could be a big chance to fight for this scrap time, as you don't want to let this get too out of hand, or let it even up, I should say. And there's another big gunfight for Curb, so that's going to be solid to hold this scrap time. All of a sudden, it's going to come down to a wild finish in the pit, Alan.
Roar will go 1-for-1. Void still holding strong for the Armada. 5 seconds, and we will open up this 5th hard point. And you can see Full Sail is surrounding this point. But the problem is, Sneaky falls over through where the first hard point would be. So it's actually Liberty who have all of the angles now coming forward. Breezy, no chance to respond. 234 is where it stops for Full Sail. Meeting that and now exceeding it is Liberty Red. Void needs to wait for help. Long range shots onto Mental. Takes him down to 1 HP, but Curb is still good for the trades. Not looking too terribly great though for Liberty overall as Full Sail overwhelmed from the back. That'll put him on 240. Liberty, one good hit to try to break this. But Full Sail have stepped off the hard point largely because the artillery strike comes down and Roar's found one kill. Even trade so far. Curb onto the hard point. 244 is where it stops for Full Sail, but Liberty get wiped and it looks good for Full Sail. Can anyone touch in time? The answer, no. Comeback city for Full Sail. 250, 242. Welcome to playoffs.
Oh my, that's probably why that hill right there is one of the most intense in the game. 3 different times I thought one team was going to win it, and then all of a sudden the other is able to come in, pick up some trades, get positioning again, and then retake the lead. Back and forth it goes. We talked about it. Full Sail needed to win one of these first 2 maps, probably this hard point. They're able to do it. Now we go to the Miami Search and Destroy, where neither teams have a whole lot of experience this year. Incredible stuff, but really the front lines for both teams that have been the playmakers all throughout that entire first match. Toddy on one side picking up a lot of kills, but then Void for Full Sail was huge in those final stages, picking up the kills on the pit.
Well, let's transition over. There's a lot of matches to look over here over the round of 64. But it's High Point playing on the Charlie stream versus Laurentian. I don't really know exactly how exactly they set themselves up. Well, hopefully we can get this Discord off our screen so we can take a look at the final action here. 224, 179. And High Point, a school that was playing with us last year. Not a great season for them overall, but they've bounced back in a major way. And while they're trying to do the exact same thing here versus Laurentian University, but not looking great, K1 is 42 in 28, taking over the map.
Yeah, Laurentian is another one of those teams you really got to be careful for. A powerhouse squad. K1 and K2 are an unbelievable duo. And like you just said, 40 plus kills right now, really carrying them to this point. High Point trying to keep this one alive. They're going to get this final 10 or so seconds or at least fight for it. And they should have a rotation to P2. So this one also could be heading down to the wire here as Abito gets himself up to 40 kills. And this has been a problem for Laurentian all year long, I feel like, where they've won so much of the slaying battle, but they've had a hard time getting on the point. I mean, for High Point to even have a chance in this game is pretty ridiculous.
But they do spawn out. A little bit difficult to decipher between the dark purple and the light blue, but we're trying to figure that out as we go. Laurentian will find a way to break, but from the front, how about it? It's going to be High Point, able to work their way right back in. The spawn's still decent for Laurentian overall. Doomy's trying to work his way forward, finds himself a massive double to get back into the hard point, and it looks like High Point last attempt would have to be from behind, but how about it? The play from behind for Scranton is actually good. 30 seconds to play for here. High Point cannot win, but they are setting up a bit of a zone to keep things close.
Got to get this, all the rest of this final time. And then, yeah, the big rotation to P3 where it's going to get pretty scrappy again. Just incredible plays for High Point to at least extend it this far. Yeah, like you said, it felt like Laurentian was going to close it out there with the spawns. Big stuff. More kills starting to come through, but K1, those are two huge kills there. Should get his team an opportunity to find map positioning. These players for High Point are going to have to push off this hill. It's not going to be easy with all this pressure.
Obito's actually going to soak up a little bit of the scrap time. It's going to force High Point to work through the old hill before they even see the third. The kill's not good for High Point. Laurentian will find the first map. Another tight one here, 250, 228. Oh, man. It's just going to be this all day long. It's just what we're going to get. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. And we're only in the round of 64. Can you imagine when we start getting into the deeper parts of playoffs? I don't know if I'm mentally prepared for this, Cam. I'm not going to lie to you.
Everybody just, yeah, you have to put everything on the table. It's all the cards right there. And you're seeing it in the first 2 matches so far tonight. And for Laurentian, I mean, with all that slaying power, it makes me question how the game is even that close to start with, especially on a map like Checkmate. Just a little unfortunate down the stretch there for High Point that has a P2 to P3 rotation. That's a tough one to make. But already, just some crazy matches so far. Like you say, Alan, it's only going to get better from here on out.
Looking forward to it. Looking forward to it for sure. But now we transition back over to Liberty going up against Full Sail here, which is our main focus. And we'll be looking at the Miami Search and Destroy. Our biggest takeaway was neither team have a lot of sample sizes to look over when it comes to this map in specific. In fact, between the two teams, we've only seen one of them play it once. So we're gonna find out today, Camber, I think is what we're getting at.
Yeah, and it's really going to be interesting as I feel almost like it's one that Full Sail could take again right under the nose of Liberty, where this map's evolved so much too since the launch of the title. There was a lot of going to be. Now so much more viable, teams starting to figure out different setups. it's one where you really have to play a lot of brain games and knowing what the
Right.
other team's going to be trying to do, keep them guessing. And I think that's going to play into the hands of Full Sail, where maybe you don't have the gunfight advantage against Liberty, but you can try to beat them with your brain, try to out IQ them, and force it, keep them guessing. Go to different bomb sites, rotate from bomb site to bomb site, hit through, be aggressive on a defensive round. There's just so much that can happen in Search and Destroy, and especially in the playoffs.
Just kind of looking over just how these two teams have fared in Search and Destroy, and I'll just generally blanket the majority of the CCL. A lot of these players spend most of their time playing in Respawn. It's just been the way that it goes. And you're seeing that kind of be maybe enveloped in both of these squads, because both teams very successful largely in the regular season through Respawn. A little bit dicier when it comes to the Search. Only a 60% win rate in the Search and Destroys for Full Sail. Only a 65% win rate for Liberty when it comes to the Search and Destroy. So that's what I really kind of go back to when you're looking at this Liberty team. You needed to win that first hard point. And that is not great. The fact that you lose that one. For Full Sail, we said if you're going to upset, you've got to come through and at least take two of the respawns. The fact that you get it off of map number 1 is incredible for the longevity of this series, not just because of the fact that their Search and Destroy is just okay, but beyond that, for maps 2, 3, and 4, those are all very favorable map picks overall for the side of Full Sail.
You're absolutely right. It makes this map 2 now a must-win for Liberty in a lot of ways, because the Control is a raid. Full Sail is 10-0, undefeated on that map and mode, so they're going to be feeling really confident going into that. I think not only do you want to win this Miami Search and Destroy for Liberty, but you probably want to do it in pretty emphatic fashion. You want to get some more momentum going into that Control to try to bring it into that Control. But you're right. I mean, they needed to win that hard point. That was their go-to mode all year long, and you lose it. Now all of a sudden, things are even more so up into the air.
All right, well, let's see exactly how things go. First offense for Full Sail. Looks like it's going to be trying to push over towards A. Roar is one of those ARs who's going to be watching over this push, and he's already found first blood. So this will probably throw some extra consideration to Full Sail's window when it comes to, do we really want to still go this way? On the opposite side of the map, though, it's just Void by himself. So if they can find Roar, the play is still on, but that's the first obstacle. It's just finding that first blood.
Yeah, I got to get this player off that perch, and then, yeah, Void over on the other side has a chance to make a big play from maybe a flank or something. He's actually looking like he might get into a gunfight now. There's some shots going down off screen, but still have to focus on this kill on Roar. He finds the second. Really, really important to have an AR player up there to slow things down, but all of a sudden, 2 back and forth in the feed. It's a 2v2 situation. Breezy's going to move up to play this plant. Void's still alive on the other end. You got to worry about him trying to rotate over. Shots going down, good enough for a distraction. All of a sudden, it's a round reset at a 2v2 retake.
Oh, boy. Well, the interesting thing about this is the fact that Full Sail have the ability to play this through the middle of the map unless Curb can find Void right here. Big first engagement here. 30 seconds on the clock. Breezy's been figured out up top. Curb, little jump shot, not going to find elimination. Breezy able to find the trade. 1v1, try to play around with time. Nenthal going to try to stick for the defuse. Breezy, quick to try to go back and check to see if he's there. And oh boy, after a brilliant first blood for Liberty, Full Sail just kind of bullheadedly continue to rush through A, and it comes through very successful for him.
Yeah, and I almost feel like that's just overthinking it a bit to jump on for that ninja defuse. Yeah, I get it. It could have worked out for you, but with 20 seconds left, probably want to think about playing for the kill instead. Breezy, though, presence of mind, protect the bomb, and just an amazing plays there. I mean, at the start of that round, like you said, you lose first blood. It really feels like your push has been halted. Void's able to stay alive over on the other side of the map, which is huge, and then you get that rotation over. You're able to win the round all of a sudden. So that feels like one that Full Sail didn't deserve to win. Breezy, huge to find 3 kills in that, and a big clutch in the 1v1.
Massive plays coming through, at least initially. Good start for Full Sail, but now it's Liberty's turn to go on the attack. And they're going to do something very similar. A little bit slower than Full Sail is pulling, and a lot of it is actually through the hotel window. And Mental with the bomb is now just going to army crawl his way forward. He is by himself, at least for now. Toddy here to meet him. Your 2 ARs of Roar and Curb watching through the middle and on the long flank over towards B. So if there were to be a hit here for Liberty, it would have to be just on the backside of what these SMGs are able to find.
Yeah, it's one of these moments on defense where you're like, it's hard to know where they are, but I think once you start to notice nobody's at B, you have to start to rotate back to A. Frequency here is going to get the information. He should be screaming it out to his teammates, but what do those 2 players at B do? Do they push through to try to hit the flank, or do they rotate back? I think, obviously, we know they should be rotating back, but still, nobody yet to fall for either team. It's a stalemate right now, and it's really a matter of finding this opening on Frequency over here at A for the offense to get your ability to move up on more positioning.
Flash will get some information, but Full Sail are going to allow them to plant with the clock running out. All 8 members alive after 90 seconds. Kind of wild. Still searching for that first blood. Trophy system denying Sneaky's utility. He actually sends some of it back his own way. Frequency searching for shells out top by the beach. I think he caught an angle on the mental. Now for sure has it, but the problem is he's caught just with an umbrella for safety. Meanwhile, though, Breezy will find the first, Frequency the second. Toddy's trying to hold on as much as he possibly can with one response. But Void has made his way through for the instant trade. Sneaky's going to try to stick this. Roar's going to be coming from the backside. Is anyone going to be looking for this? There's the first kill. No, he doesn't. He tries to transfer too soon for the special play and gets punished for it. And Full Sail find themselves up 2-0.
It's such a tough situation as well, because yes, you get the bomb down that late into the round, but all of a sudden your AR is nowhere to be found for Liberty. It's Toddy and Mental trying to play some long angles, trying to pick up some kills on AR players, and that's so difficult to do. Roar a little too late to the party there. Maybe if he finds that kill on Devoid, has a chance to kill the bomb plant or the diffuser, but either way, I think for Liberty, it's a matter of where's our assault rifle player when we're trying to push A. We need those long sight lines covered over our shoulder, and they just simply didn't have it there. Breezy starting off 4-0, really huge right now for Full Sail. Mentioned that he was kind of been the weak link throughout the entirety of this season, but right now showing just how much of an impact you can have in Search and Destroy.
2-2 defensive split once more here for Liberty going into round number 3. And the only reason why I bring that up is because this was a very successful setup against a very similar offensive stance in round number 1 when it comes to first blood. It just comes beyond that. Just can you actually use the numbers is the bigger question. But there it is again. Roar, first blood under Frequency. Similar position as well out by the Catamaran. But the play seems to still want to be alive. Sneaky and Breezy considering still playing over towards A. Toddy's actually stayed up top in Piano this time around, and as Roar finds a second elimination, that is onto the bomb carrier. So now a 4v2 situation for Liberty.
Yeah, and it almost feels like that first offensive win at A was something of a fluke, because Roar has been pretty solid up on the top of the visitor center and finding some of those kills. Curbs watching over mid-map, taking some shots. Huge to be able to play his life here. It's not looking good for the offense. Still 4 players alive for Liberty, covering so much of the map, and you have the bomb down over here. Sneaky's going to have to try to make a play on his own. Roar is watching it. Big shots coming up, finds that first kill, but now still a 1v3. Still got to get the plant down. Probably not going to happen here.
Probably not. Does have time, though, now that he's collected the bomb, to just stick for a plant. The problem is you see those 2 Liberty members sitting in the middle. They are going to see every bit of this play. And there it is. So much better this time around for Liberty to find the first blood. And I think the bigger kind of question that I have to ask here is for Full Sail, if they continue to try to play this A strategy, what is the adjustment if you lose that first blood? Because so far it's just been no adjustment. We're just going to keep pushing forward. And I'm not going to lie, both attempts have been a little bit more on the unconvincing side, even though one of those rounds they did still squeak away.
Yeah, and I think the adjustment probably has to be to just backtrack and try to at least find a pick. If you lose that first blood, trying to push A, especially coming from Roar, who's camping up in top visitors, you're really going to be in a tough spot, especially if you lose an assault rifle player. That's what you really need, is someone watching over the top, trying to kill Roar from above. You put some pressure on him, then your submachine gun players can move on up. It has to come more as a team, it feels like. That first round, something of a fluke, but we'll see what they change up once they get back on offense.
This time for Liberty, first look over through the parking garage towards B. And Breezy's actually playing this very close to the chest. The problem is he's got to watch multiple angles, and Curb will see some information. Breezy really has nowhere to back up to. Trophy system to keep him safe, and he's going to be allowed to get the regen off here. So with maybe a little bit of assistance from Void, which he gets, this position is still locked down for Full Sail. 2-for-1 exchange leaves us with a 3v2 overall, favoring the defense.
Yeah, still got to get some more positioning. It's so difficult right now to push into B, especially with the low life advantage. And Roar, yeah, it feels like they're drawing out some of these rounds, maybe just a little bit too long. I do like the play to go to B for Liberty, but when you lose these lives, now all of a sudden, what's next? So you know these players are going to be watching these angles. Mental throws the shoulder for some information onto Breezy. Maybe a chance to move forward. Maybe have to use that nade as well, but the trophy system's down. 10 seconds left at this point. You got to start to play for this plant or just for the kills. It seems like you're going to try to find a couple kills. Breezy's going to climb on over. He has no idea where Mental is. Mental finds another, has to play for the plant. And Frequency is going to find the kill. I thought for a second he might be able to turn up there and find that one. But Full Sail, they do exactly what they should on defense. A 3-2 life advantage. They draw things out, play it to the final seconds. Frequency, a little maybe shaky here, but he does actually find the kill on Mental.
Wow. I mean, This is just going to be so much fun, man. I'm just like thinking way ahead of time here when it comes down to what we're going to eventually see later on in the playoffs. I'm just like kid in a candy shop right now. We've seen some really good plays already, and we're still in round of 64, my man. I mean, come on.
Alan's daydreaming about the grand final.
I really am, dude. Like, I wish I could say that was cap, but it's not, dude. Like, I'm literally smiling from ear to ear looking over this. But I'm sure Full Sail is portraying something similar here with a 3-1 advantage so far. Offense, different route, frequency moving forward. He's going to find Curb, no problem. And, well, Roar actually plays an off angle. He wanted to play through the beachfront, and he's going to get over towards the Catamaran. But the problem is the middle of the map is completely vacant. Mental's trying to throw some consideration that way. And honestly speaking, if Roar's got good timing here, maybe he takes on the bomb carrier, but instead he's trying to find trades mid-map, which he does actually come away with. But the problem is the bomb is planted and Full Sail have full control of the visitor center.
Yeah, Roar is going to have to make a big kill here with this assault rifle. He's got to find one of these picks to start to even the odds. I like the idea to reposition. It's good enough to find one kill, but now they know where you are. Void here going to find Mental rotating over, all up to Roar in the 1v3. Shots into Void, no good. And this is just one of those moments where we saw the adjustment at the start of the round for Full Sail. They take a little bit of a different route. It's a little extra aggression from the defense. They move up a bit too far. Frequency is able to find that opening kill. And I mean, you give them credit. They have absolutely stuck to A. They're very decisive in that way, and it's starting to pay off for them. Winning it a couple times now. They do it again there, and they're doing it in different ways. They're showing some adjustments, which is obviously huge in Search and Destroy.
I always do appreciate when teams can show a little bit of creativity when it comes to their search. And I will say not just for an A hit is that creative, but for Miami overall, that's a very creative offense, kind of using the middle of the map, not just to get to the bomb site, but also beyond that, making sure the defensive rotations from B get stalled. So really nice innovation here coming out from Full Sail. Full in a row. Wow, that's hard to say. Full Sail 4 in a row for Frequency. Goodness. I did not do enough tongue twisters apparently before we got on air. But for Liberty, they're again going to try their luck over towards B, at least initially. This is a 3-man defensive stance for Full Sail, though, trying to respond against this.
Yeah, and I do think for Liberty, this is probably the bomb site you could have more success with, just especially with these frontline players and how aggressive they can be, how successful they can be. Toddy starting to clear things out a little bit. That's what you need to do, and he's trying to set up this pinch with Mental. Mental seems to know that a player has to be on these steps. It's just a matter of when is he going to peek out. Sneaky might have some shots into him. He's going to be the one with the bomb, so Curve comes up to support. Toddy will be the first one to challenge out, finding that first kill. Now trade starting to ensue on both sides. Mental finds another onto Void, 2v1. And this last player pushing up in top. Frequency is going to find the kill. It makes it a 1v1. Is he still planting the bomb? No, he gets off the bomb. It's a big 1v1.
That's a massive, massive win up top. Mental has that little moment of second guessing. It's going to give Frequency a chance to actually read this play. However, does he actually catch him? Oh, he absolutely does. Frequency knows that he should have this round locked up. Peek the angle accordingly, get the kill. The plant never gets off, and a handful of rounds still in a row for Full Sail, up 5-1.
It's a massive big brain play, like you said, from Frequency to go on that pinch. He starts to hear and from his teammates that the gunfights are taking place over at B. It's a trade city matchup right there, and he decides, I'm going to rotate around, be the one to finish things off, finds that huge kill to make it a 1v1. Mental, maybe just overthinking a little bit there, rotating over to A. Frequency gets the huge information, and he has been massive right here for Full Sail. Not only has he made plays with the submachine gun, but we saw him with the AR earlier on. He's up to 6. If he could get these streaks, even if you lose this round, you'd be in a really good spot, but it feels like for Full Sail, this could be one that they close out with the success they've had at A on offense.
And I'm really interested to see if they're just going to essentially build a convoy to where Frequency can just get one kill. He is carrying the bomb, so even a plant might do it. Roar playing an angle over through the beachside stairs. That would be good for damage, but not elimination. Frequency keeps his life, and then rotating through the middle of the map initially was Curb, but he gets shut down by Void. Toddy actually in a little bit of a trepidatious situation as a couple of different members for Full Sail are looking at him. He'll fall. Full Sail find themselves in a 4v2 and a wide open B site if they so choose to go that direction, but once more, into the fray they go towards A. Mental and Roar have to clutch up. A big first elimination that is under the bomb carrier Frequency. And if Roar can continue to work this with Mental, there's an opportunity to actually isolate Void coming to the middle of the map, whether they know that or not.
Yeah, they really just have to play this buddy system, stay attached to him. Roar, the huge kill on Void as he climbs up, lets him know about it. Now a 2v2 for Liberty, and it really helps that they have these Krigs because they can hold down these long sight lines. The bomb gets dropped, like you said, Alan. Sneaky. That's a huge kill right there. All up to Mental. He's taking shots, getting away with his life. These players have to plant. He knows that. 5 seconds left. The bomb is going to go down. Now his chance to make a big play.
But that little peek from Breezy is enough to push Mental back. Sees one, sees the second, but not going to get the gunfight win. And Full Sail take a 6-1 advantage. And with that, a 2-0 advantage in the series overall. In what would be upset fashion. I'm just going to say it, throwing it out there. This is the number 5 seed here for Full Sail. So, oh boy, we're getting a lot of early action immediately as we go through. Speaking of that, though, taking a look to see what's happening with Laurentian University and High Point University. They find themselves in a Moscow search and destroy where LU Esports are up 5-2, trying to put this one away. But they do find themselves in a 3v2 in which they should be able to get this bomb planted here at B no problem.
Yeah, and again, you get to see the scoreboards, K1 and K2, carrying the load as always. It's so great to watch this team play because I really do feel like the other players fill in their roles so well. They're in a closeout round here, and they're in a good spot to do it, up 3-2 in the lives. They have the bomb down. They have everything covered right now. This is not looking good for High Point. Got to somehow make this break. Sexton with the SMG is going to go down. K1 picking up a huge kill. The other one falls as well. Oh, and maybe I was mixing up the scores there. It's actually High Point who are going to win at 6-2. And just every time I see Laurentian in their scoreboard, I always see K1 and K2 dominating. So I just assume that they're in the lead. But how about High Point? They win a big one there to drop that series.
Good stuff. So a 1-1 tally there overall after what was a very tight hard point for them as well. So 2 tight hard points for us between the Alpha and Charlie streams, and then 2 pretty big blowouts when it comes to the search and destroy overall. Looking forward, we've got raid control coming up next. This is great news now all of a sudden for Full Sail. You mentioned their most played control by far. Very good record as well to kind of tote with that. So, I mean, 3-0 for upset fashion, potentially not just on the cards, but on the on-deck circle at the moment.
They are knocking on the door without a doubt, Alan. And this if you could pick a map to have to close it out 3-0, I'm sure Full Sail is picking Raid. The fact that they're 10-0, they would definitely be picking Raid. It's just a matter for Liberty. Now your back's against the wall. How are you going to play in that kind of scenario? Is that what it's going to take to really make you open your eyes to the fact that you're coming out sleeping a little bit in this series? I really think the Miami proved well for Full Sail. Just the fact that neither team had a lot of experience on it was huge for them. All of a sudden, they're up 2-0. And yeah, it really feels like this raid control is a big opportunity for them to close it out in 3. And I think they want to do that because if they let it get to that next hard point, we know that's where Liberty's been so strong all year long. That could be their opportunity to find some momentum back in their favor and force this to a game 5.
Indeed, indeed. We'll take just a small reprieve before we get into the raid control. Do not go too far. We've got more of the CCL playoffs and a lot more of it coming up after this. Hello, welcome back as we're getting ready to go for control, not just here on the Liberty versus Full Sail matchup, in which Full Sail should be kind of, feeling pretty loose, feeling pretty confident, feeling pretty comfortable. A little shimmy action for you, Cameron. I know that you're loving that action all day long. Yeah, okay. I love what you did with the scowl that you had right there. That's beautiful. Wonderful stuff. We also have the control ready to go over on the High Point and the Laurentian matchup that's happening overall. So we have a chance to kind of watch over the start of that one and probably get a little bit of simultaneous feeds going on for you guys as both of these games will be starting into their control here pretty quickly. So as we get ready to go, again, let's take a look. High Point University, Laurentian Esports. It looks like Laurentian is marked as being up 2-0, so we may have had a couple of codcaster issues from the last one. So High Point needed to get some work done here offensively on checkmate, and well, so far so good. 2 ticks of progress at B, which is the last zone they're going to need.
Yeah, getting the last point they need. This could be the chance to close it on out. Lives heavily in favor, and that last tick of progress so close. Free with a big one. Kill Gannon. I think that's 2. Is able to find that kill. Brewing pushing on forward. That's going to be enough though for Laurentian. They pick up those kills, get so heavily in their favor in terms of life advantage. And that's enough to get the map positioning, the control on the point. They capture it. They stack it. Huge start in round 1 to pick up the first offense.
Yeah, really, really good stuff. I mean, not regularly do we see checkmate offense find much success. But well, we've gotten that. We've absolutely gotten that coming through. Again, just kind of to remind you, we are having multiple matches happening at one time. So on the little mini right, little picture in picture, That'll be a live look at what's happening between Full Sail and Liberty. We'll kind of go back and forth depending on how the match is faring between these two schools. So we'll see how things kind of unfold here as we move a little bit further on, and we'll stay on board with the K brothers because let's be honest, they have been the shining stars for their school pretty much throughout the entirety of the season.
They have been so fun to watch. Yeah, the way they play off of each other. And I have to think that once playoff times come around, they get even more hype, even more intense. I got to find out a little bit too. They're related to Jordan Kilgannon, the dunker. I don't know if you know about him, Alan. He's like world-renowned dunkers. These guys are athletes not only on the sticks but in real life too. So they know just how much it matters when you get into the late stages into playoffs. And right now, picking up where they left off in that first round, trying to find some more of these kills. Brewing's going to slow things down with that one. Doomy trying to move up as well. And don't sleep on the fact that Obito and Doomy are great players as well. Assault rifles absolutely huge. This player moving up into the top of the plane is going to find that kill, trying to get this positioning as they fight for it back and forth. K1's going to find it now. That 2-piece would have been huge. Kern's going to stay alive for the time being as his teammates come and support.
Kern's onto the point, and a little bit of an update here. Just a small mistake on our codcaster. Those team names need to be swapped around as it is now High Point on the offense in white. So hopefully we can get that swapped over and we'll be all squared up. But LU not wanting to give away the Zay zone, still committing numbers forward. Doomy's not going to be able to do too much with that, but K2 puts up where he left off. And the K brothers again just taking over. I mean, 12-5 when it comes to K1, 7-5 for K2. But they are getting a lot of assistance this time around for Doomy. And as the A zone gets completely bounced out, it looks like for High Point, they're going to turn their attention over towards B, at least for a time, wait for the respawns, and then reaggress. And both these kills much better, should lead to an extra 60 seconds, and it does.
Yep, you're able to get A, the easier of the two. Now you extend the round, add that extra minute, but the lives pretty even, so the defense not out of this one just yet. You only have one player on the point, so you don't have to put too much focus there. Try to regain some map control, especially up top in the plane, which you have right now. But you got to start to think about this pinch coming through as these players stack the progress, flying away. It's an all-out stack as the second tick comes through. Big kills, though, in the feed. That's enough to slow things down. And another one there from K1. He's going to move up on the map here. He's going to be the thorn in the side as he pushes the spawns. Well, never mind. He goes down to free.
A 7-versus-7 match going on right now. 2 ticks of progress on to B, but you feel like the lives are likely going to decide the outcome of this round in particular. Nice kill again from K2. Said that a couple of different times. Doomy also getting involved now. A 7v4 all of a sudden. Not great news here for High Point. Finding themselves on what would be a stark upset in maybe 3-0 fashion, as well as you're starting to see again LU just take over the middle of the map, players through the plane, everything looking really good overall. K2 another elimination up high onto free. It leaves Brewing by himself and he's got nowhere to go. That'll be a 2-0 up lead for LU, and maybe we can swap the POVs here and jump over to see how Liberty and Full Sail are going. Oh, that was a nasty 3-piece, Wade. All right, well, jumping on in here. Got ourselves the colors a little bit flipped around backwards, so it actually could be Full Sail onto the offense here. And they have won the first round, so this would be incredible for the effort. We talked about how good this raid control has been for them here, Cambert, and they're going to start off very nicely on their first attack as long as they can clear off these last couple of players. Breezy, maybe didn't recognize that Curb was also in the mix, so what looked to be a for sure third tick of progress will stall just a touch.
Yeah, and Curb could be trying to buy some more time for his team, which could be crucial. That kill on the frequency, the movement on point, absolutely massive. And I mean, we talked at the beginning, I really feel like for Full Sail, you want to close it out in 3. You do not want to let this series go on because I feel like Liberty has a chance to win the next hard point, and then if it gets to that Game 5 search, it's anybody's ball game. So this is a huge opportunity that you have to capitalize on and win it here in 3. But right now, still trying to get that A point is Liberty Red. One player getting there to continue the progress. Breezy's the one who's trying to make plays in the top of Laundry. Now he goes down to the point. A big kill on Demental. 9-2 for Breezy. He says, maybe it was a tough regular season for me, but I'm turning up in the playoffs.
Clutch really throughout a lot of these different moments in our first 3 maps. Toddy's going to try to play for exits, but he gets denied by Sneaky. Well, Sneaky in his own right is Curb as he tries to take over the bedroom, but this is a 17 playing up against 15 situation in which you can see Full Sail in the technical red arrows this time, trying to make their play through the middle and the backside of Laundry. They found an opening. Mental and Toddy, well, they're going to be able to kind of run things just a touch for Liberty to make sure things stay safe. And with 60 seconds to play, Full Sail will really need to make sure they're set up before they try to actually execute.
Huge positioning for these players in kitchen. Such a pivotal position to hold down, as Frequency is going to be the one trying to do it. They're pushing on through is Toddy. He's got somebody else behind it. In Money picking up a kill. Mental actually going to get the trade there onto Frequency. That's huge to get these players out of Money, because that's the position where you can really turn things on its head. Jump up onto the point. You can play for positioning, play to force the spawns out. Right now, you've got one player left here. Everybody else coming off spawn. Breezy's got to buy some time, but he's been so good at doing that this game.
Oh,
2 huge kills in the feed. Yeah,
he's got big help. That's going to be 3 players now. The potential to stack out of the zone, and they take care of Curb. Now they absolutely can. Clock stalls at 26 seconds. Toddy's already made his way over to the open window, but he's not going to be able to break this by himself. 2 players stacked. Roar going to win a big gunfight through basketball. Curb another. That alleviates some pressure, but the job is already done. Full Sail's gotten 2 ticks of progress, and they have themselves to a 4v6. Last attempt forward. Curb, long-range shots with the 74. You good. And with 15 seconds, you've got to find a way to get on if you're Full Sail, and there just is no avenue for them whatsoever. They've missed their chance completely. Curb going huge in the end with 3 straight kills. That will make sure we stay tied at 1 through both defenses. And
it's the part of the round where there's not a lot of time left. You have to sprint right into these gunfights, and you're not going to win them in that situation. They end up falling. You just can't get map control there when you only have 20 seconds left. You lose that, you die in that one wave of kills, and then everything is pretty much chalked from there, because everybody can just hold their sight lines, make sure they're picking up the kills off spawn. It was a good effort for Full Sail. Just goes to show how difficult it can be to capture B. You don't just stack the point. It really has to come step by step. Got to force those spawns out, get some positioning before you get onto the point.
Small update on the Charlie stream. Laurentian Esports did just secure their 3-0 against High Point. That is a huge upset when it comes to the seeding specifically. Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, a High Point team that barely lost at all throughout the regular season, did really well in the second stage, now find themselves in lower round 1. Liberty trying to avoid the same fate. Good start here offensively as Roar's on 4 in a row, so is Curb, and they continue individually to find so many kills across the map. That'll lead to at least 1 tick of progress, and Liberty can actually stack this for an extra 60 seconds.
Huge sweep of kills there. Yeah, now you get everybody on the point. Curb's going to push on up to try to help with the positioning. Breezy, that's a big kill, but he's still got 2 players to deal with. Doesn't necessarily want to challenge out right away. Probably chalking A at this point. Put your focus towards B as a defense. You're losing in the lives, so you want to start to get those back in your favor. Now, hold on here. This A point still hasn't been captured yet. Big plays out of the defense. Void's able to get in there, clean up the kills. And this round isn't necessarily getting extended just yet.
That's going to feel like a huge missed opportunity for Liberty. I mean, you had Curb, who was playing so far forward. It looked good with Roar watching over the top, but Full Sail just dominated and worked their way right back in. And now the fight happens to transition over to B. Sneaky using every last bullet to make sure that Mental stays at bay, but nobody's actually watching over Roar, who's on the zone. He's about to have a little bit of help, too. This is going to be one of those situations where Sneaky has to play his life, wait for assistance to get here. He's going to be challenged, but does win the first gunfight. Curb still existing through kitchen, but Void on the flank will take him down. First tick of progress, good over towards B, and now the retake needs to find a way to come through. Roar still playing his life, finds himself on 5 in a row at 20 and 10, but he surely should be overwhelmed here in a matter of moments, but a lot of respect being paid to Dan. Eventually he'll fall, and we turn our attention back over to the A zone, which is the next hit for LU.
Yeah, I like the move to play basketball court. Nice IQ from the other team, though, to pick up the kill. And you still have to get one of these points to extend the round. Still 2 ticks at A is probably where you want to go first, but this defense doing a really good job of playing control near Art. They're pushing all the way up. Breezy finding one. His teammate Void gets another. It's a 2-piece from Breezy. 5 kill streak. This dude's carrying his team right now in the playoffs. You gotta love to see it if you're a fan of Full Sail. He's gonna keep his positioning up towards the garage, try to play some kills off spawn. He's influencing that spawn over by B. Teammates have to be aware of it. Nobody home at B right now. The offense could completely push on in, get the stack together. It's what they're gonna go for.
And with Void is gonna be playing through the money window, and he finds himself a double. 2.3 seconds of the clock, and that's 2.3 seconds that Mental has to stretch to every limit, but it's not going to be allowed. Curb cannot get there to touch in time, and well, we've seen 3 defenses now in a row between these 2 squads. But still, with that said, Full Sail find themselves in a pretty steep advantage, not because they're up, but they also had a lot of work being done by Breezy, who I believe earned himself at least one of the 2 streaks.
Yeah, you got one player making massive things happen on one end near the spawns. It's going to influence things so that these players spawn up over by B, but you're ready for it as the rest of the team. You pick up those extra kills. Huge stuff. Don't really let them capture either points, so it's a quick one on defense. You go up 2-1. Full Sail looking really good. 1 round away from closing this one out in an upset fashion. Again, it's coming down to Breezy, 23-8. Is at a below 1 KD in every mode this entire season, but right now absolutely turning up.
And, you know, the thing is, he's been getting a lot of help. That's the big thing. You know, for a guy that's largely been playing on the objective, you can see he's not making challenges occur unless he's got help around him, which this time he's actually going to go a little bit on an island, but knows that Roar's up top. He will find a kill, but it'll be just a touch too late as Dan had already found 1 elimination of his own. Void trying to keep his life, gets the regen off. On 4 in a row, would love to find potential streaks as well. Pinch coming from behind, though, for Mental. That'll lead to clearance of the zone and depletion of the 3rd tick in favor of Liberty Red's defense again.
Yeah, huge kills there. Now you can get on to A. As these players continue to fight for map positioning. Curb's going to be the one pushed up. It's not easy to get there. Nobody's going to even think about going to B. You got to start to wonder if that's should start to creep into your mind a little bit here, as these players are so heavily pushed up defensively on A. It's not going to be much of an opening. Sneaky trying to make something happen. Good shots there. His teammate Void with the team shots are going to be huge. They get onto A. They should get this final tick. And you have to know the defense is going to start to turn their focus to B.
Yeah, Liberty does have some good pressure through the middle of the map, though, so they can actually still play forward for exits, which is exactly what's happening. This is actually great news here for LU Red. The only big real hiccup is the fact that Void has opened up some space, and Liberty will pay respect to that and just kind of bunker up. You've got Roar number 3 playing over to the bedroom. This is a really good spot for him to be. And then double focus here for Liberty in towards Kitchen. Breezy cut down first. Frequency the next one to fall. And, well, Sneaky said, I don't really know if I want to keep going this way, but he was already committed, could not fully back out. So 3 straight kills for Liberty. They find themselves a 5-life advantage overall. And once more, the Armada have to find a way to try to break in and actually even see this B zone.
It's a perfect setup, too. They got everything covered, the full flank, the kitchen control, and you have that player pushed out by Bedroom influencing the spawns. All of a sudden, that's what Full Sail needed to do. They needed to fire everybody into the kitchen. They get the opening they're looking for, but Roar over here has been camping out, waiting for some action to come his way. He's going to put some shots down into Frequency. Only 1 player here to start this progress. Is everybody for the defense coming off spawn? Breezy's probably going to go down to Curb. And now you're kind of back to square one. Everybody's kind of all spread out. Got to get on the same page here into the offense.
Sneaky good for 1, but doesn't have any help for his trade. And Curb has been so good in the middle of the map. 44 seconds on the clock. 6 life advantage for Liberty's defense, and Curb is continuing to be everywhere at once. He is literally omnipresent at the moment. And for the Armada, who spawned on the bottom side of the garage, they're going to try to make a longer play, clear back middle, and then they have the opportunity either to work through kitchen or just flood through the bottom stairs. The big problem is the fact that you still have a member of Liberty sitting up top of the bedroom, and that will make life difficult no matter which way you decide you want to try to push through.
Yeah, it's a difficult position to get a kill off of. Roar's got to play his life up there. He's finding more. Toddy in from the point. Went on that little pinch route. Good for 2. This is good stuff right now at a Liberty on this defense. They are going to extend this game, it looks like, to around 5. And for Full Sail, I liked the move to full send into kitchen, pick up those kills, and try to create the opening as a team. And then after that point, when you finally go down, you kind of start to play more individualistic. That kind of comes back to bite you, but the lives going heavily against you. It's not easy to do. It's easier said than done over here at B, but better stuff from the defense and Liberty. We're going to around 5, Alan.
And I would have to guess that Liberty should be in a position with this late spree. I mean, they won that round by about 9 lives or so. I would have to feel like they were probably the team to start on defense, but we did not see that first round in completion, so it'd be hard to figure exactly one way or the other. And yeah, that will indeed be the case. Liberty will be in the white on the defense, which this map has been dominated by all defense so far. And when Toddy on 5, Curb on 4, they've got potential to really put some pressure on by earning streaks in this opening rip. Just comes down to how do they want to try to manipulate that. And Curb will decide to go right through the middle. Roar over towards Laundry, able to find himself not just 2, but a 3rd off screen. Good news here. Roar for all 4 off the rip. Why not go ahead and delete some trophies? Well, the second one a little more elusive than the first. But it'll still be all right. Full Sail now full flooding over towards B, and Mental's here to defend.
Yeah, you get that clean sweep, and the spawn is instantly by the pool side. These players are just going to go ahead and run right towards B to try to get some progress together. that player pushing into the basketball courts. I like that move. He could be finding Mental out here. He's going to get that kill. Void still being a nuisance in the back line, running out of ammo. Still going to be able to get away with his life. Huge stuff right there out of Void to just be that nuisance. You see how many players have to turn their focus now. Mental's able to finally clean it up. Okay, now we can try to push back over to where the real focus is at A. But those are just good plays out of Void to try to create a little bit of a distraction.
Breezy gonna get cut down, and Liberty has been just dominating the middle of the map. It just feels like Toddy and Curb could just rotate as they see fit, because there really hasn't been great control for Full Sail when they come to getting onto either of these zones at all through mid. Roar even going to find himself a double. Curb is working for streaks. Not that he maybe will even need them, but he still earns the artillery strike. And Full Sail's last-ditch attempt to try to close out a 3-0 would have to be over towards B. Breezy finds an opening, and Curb, he's going to throw all of his artillery strike charges right at Breezy, who will just essentially sacrifice his life. He knows he has to try to stall the clock as long as possible. And with the last couple of seconds coming through, Curb still keeping the gas on. No chance for Full Sail to touch Liberty, keep themselves in this series, as they will take away the round 5, 3-2.
And that's kind of scary stuff for Full Sail. I mean, yes, you go up 2-0 in the series, but you probably wanted to close it out on your undefeated map and mode. Now gives Liberty the chance to go back to Hardpoint, where they've had a lot of success this season, find more momentum before that final search and destroy, if it goes there. But like we're saying, they needed to not only win this control, but find some momentum. And it felt like in those final 2 rounds, winning it by pretty heavily in favor life advantage, that final round, dominating fashion. That's going to be good to carry some momentum now into the Moscow Hardpoint. For scary stuff for Full Sail, because it's not over just yet.
Yeah, very much so, because now you go over to a hard point in a Moscow, where this is where the series, becomes a little bit more even. We talked about, again, Full Sail, really, really good job when it comes to the veto process to get Miami, to get Raid on the cards, but you lose one or the other. Now you have to really kind of see how deep is your map pool overall to try to get this upset through. We look at what they've done so far in Moscow. Yeah, 2-0 overall, but 2 instances that Liberty have also played in this map. We've already talked about how good of a hardpoint team Liberty's been all year long.
Yeah, and the other scary thing, too, is that these assault rifle players have started to heat up for Liberty. Roar and Curb just had a huge match there on that raid control. We go to Moscow, where things start to get a little more separated, longer sight lines. The assault rifles play a big role. Rotations become really big. Those are the last 2 players you want to see start to heat up for Liberty if you're Full Sail. And that's got to be scary in and of itself, I feel like, going into this,
for real.
Into this Moscow hardpoint, because now all of a sudden you need your assault rifle players to pick it up if you're Full Sail. Sure, Breezy started to play well there. Well, time will tell how he carries it into the next map, but it feels like for Full Sail, somebody's going to have to step up with a Krig in their hands.
We'll have to find out. We'll take another small break just for now while we're getting things ready to go for map number 4. Again, like I mentioned, a 3-0 for Laurentian University over High Point, sending HPU down to the lower bracket. That was a 6, beating a number 3 seed overall. So upsets really kind of plaguing when it comes down to what we've seen so far in the first round overall between these kind of tight seeding matchups. So we'll step away for just a brief moment. When we come back, we'll be jumping into Moscow Hardpoint with these 2 squads right here. Welcome back to everybody. We're getting ready to go. Small update came out of nowhere. Flew in from the heavens and said, "Be graced, ye COD players." I didn't have any real heavenly follow-up for that one. But that was what happened. We're naturally having to wait for everyone to get fully updated, get back into the lobby. But we're just about ready to go. Moscow Hardpoint coming up. And I think one of the big things that we're saying here is great start for Full Sail, but maybe a missed opportunity to put this one away in 3.
Really feels that way, Alan. I mean, for Liberty, you find some momentum in that last map. It feels like they're going to compile it here into the next one, just based off the way, too, that it's the assault rifle players that have started to heat up. I mean, in the beginning, I was saying how Toddy and Mental, this submachine gun duo, are going to be so important for Liberty. But when all of a sudden Roar and Curb are throwing in their additions, all of a sudden it becomes much more difficult for Full Sail to win. I will say, I think in terms of Moscow Hardpoint, only 4 actual hills to focus on.
Yep.
You can kind of win this map in some ways without winning the slaying department. If your rotations are more in check, if you're timing them correctly, if your communication with your teammates is there, that can be a way to win this as well. We've seen that throughout this year. So for Full Sail, you don't necessarily have to win the slaying department. It just has to really be good team play, good management of the map, your positioning, all those different things. And then at the same time, the one guy I'm looking at for Full Sail, probably Frequency. The assault rifle players had a little bit of a tough time in this series so far. He could definitely turn things up, because when him and Void are both clicking, you got the SMG and the AR both throwing in their effort. That can be huge for Full Sail. They need to get that back to where it was.
I'm really glad that you brought up the point that whatever happens in the kill totals might not make as much of a difference as the objective pressure overall, because that was one of the reasons that Full Sail was able to actually stay in that raid hard point in the first place. They were really troubling getting through the fourth hill, getting really through the fifth, but getting that position to where they were winning rotation continually between the second and the third hard points, which is largely going to be more for your money hills overall for a map like raid, is I think really, really important. So if they can do the exact same thing here in Moscow, would be good for them. But the counter, the devil's advocate to that is the simple fact that Liberty Red have been looking really, really much stronger when it comes to their ARs overall. And that's going to make for a very interesting kind of maybe debacle when it comes to trying to break that through if you're Full Sail. So Moscow hardpoint coming up. There's been a lot of results starting to be shared. We will be giving you guys a bracket breakdown whenever this match comes to a conclusion, maybe even after map 4, between map 4 and 5, just kind of give you guys an update as far as other results, because there have been upsets, and not just ones because certain teams have not been able to play, but ones that have been earned as well. So interesting things to kind of keep an eye on, but we turn our attention solely to what's happening here with Liberty Red and Full Sail Armada. It will be Liberty spawning on the favored side, and well, you're going to see again Curb with that AR watching over the top. Royer was responsible for the bottom side of the street. He has been to the end, and now Full Sail, they want to make their move forward to try to get this hard point.
I was interested to see with the less favorable spawns how much attention they'd put to this first hill, and they throw 2 players there. They try to kind of focus with Frequency there towards the street side. He's going to go down as well, so this continues to look good as the spawn's going to be there. Full Sail trying to push through the hill, though, to try to get to the next one. Roar, that's a near impossible gunfight to win. Picks up that kill as well. Things looking good for Liberty, although the time going over to Full Sail right now, you got to keep your focus on those spawns for next.
Careful here, though, because of the pressure that Full Sail is starting to get through the hard point. There could be some influence onto the spawns themselves, and you actually saw Dan Rohrer moving backwards just to make sure that the apartment building was continually safe for Liberty. Lots of time on the first hard point for Full Sail, but as we keep continuing to allude to, Liberty are in a pretty strong position to at least get some initial time here in the second. Toddy, required double kill, finds it, getting attacked from behind, wants the triple, and, well, he would have had an opportunity for a fourth beyond it, but he will not be able to grab the third nor the fourth. And now all of a sudden, Full Sail have some setups to try to break into the second hard point.
Yeah, he's still able to pick up a huge bit of information seeing those final 2 players. Teammates taking use of it. Roher starting to find himself finding a couple kills. Toddy as well, picking right back up where he left off after dying. Those close spawns so huge, and although Full Sail is able to get 30 seconds on the first hill, it's this money hill on P2 that's so important. 30 seconds already through for Liberty, looking good on the next. Now you got to start to think about, when do you want to push up? Do you want to try to flip these spawns in the final stages to put Full Sail back at P2?
Feeling a bit of deja vu here. This is very similar to the start that we had on Raid. Full Sail finds a rare amount of time on the first hard point, but Liberty respond with a very good second hill. So as we open things up in front of the library, take a look at the setup here for Full Sail, including Frequency number 7. You said how important he would be. He's going to play a very one-dimensional angle by making sure the back stays completely safe. This will leave an open opportunity for Liberty to move through for a time through the staircase. Just comes down to, will they read that there's a player holding and anchoring all the way into the back? Toddy will be cut down mid-map. Breezy for 2. Good stuff here in the first 15 seconds, locked in for Full Sail.
Yeah, and the problem is even if you pick up those kills on these players with the hold, they're still going to spawn close because you have Frequency holding this spawn in the back. So it's really a big gunfight coming up for Curb. It's just so difficult to make this read as he tries to right there. Frequency is still going to find the kill. Although these gunfights taking place near the point, you see the spawn's going to be close, so 25 seconds to fight for. Frequency finds another. That's huge. 3 down in the feed. Liberty going to get back onto this point. Full Sail going to get back onto this point, keep the lead going up, and they're already turning their attention to the street.
Important roll here for Frequency. Finds himself 3 in a row. Not going to expect another one on top of the bus. That'll be Curb. That will deny any attempt for Full Sail to freely rotate between the third and the fourth hills. Mental, tallying up things in the office, has found 1 good kill through gold. The rest of his teammates working through the alleyway, recognizing that there are more members here for Full Sail that could contest. Mental pushing out, able to find 1 more elimination. Toddy gets the second, and now all of a sudden you've got Liberty an opportunity to capitalize on this fourth hard point to maybe retake the lead.
And this is that position where these submachine gun players become so important for Liberty Red. They continue to hold down the control of this gold room, this rat room, which is really the biggest opportunity to create a pinch. Otherwise, you're just running straight into the gunfire of Roar here. As he finds one onto Frequency. This is starting to look good for Liberty. Not a hill that you typically get a lot of time on, but in comes the pinch spawn. These players coming from different angles. Going to be good to clear off the point. And I'm wondering too, Alan, as we go back to P1, Is Liberty going to make an adjustment? Because 30 seconds to full sail the first time around is probably not where you want things to stand. Yes, you want to keep those spawns, but you don't want to give up too much time on P1 and let them turn it into a money hill.
And to be fair, I think Liberty, you saw for a moment there with, I believe it was Toddy sitting inside of gold. They wanted to try to zone off the rotation from full sail off this initial time from the first hard point, but a good focus for FSA gets them to a position to where they dealt with Toddy, and now they can contest this early time and go right back to battle once more. Breezy with another elimination on the Toddy. He has been great so far through the day. A more difficult map for him as an SMG player, 7-9, but still with 40 seconds of the hard point time. He's been one of the main reasons why Full Sail has been looking as good as they have in the hard points throughout this point.
Playing his role so well, this player going to spawn on out. He's got to turn his back. Big kill coming up, maybe. He's going to go down, so this is huge. This final 30 seconds really is pretty crucial right now for Liberty Red, because yes, you have the spawns, but Full Sail have been making a living off this P1. Got to get some more time here. You have to know that these spawns are by the street. Got to pick that on up. Frequency finds one, so his team can try to move on forward, but Mental's there to help. Curb is there as well. Liberty doing a good job at zoning out this left side of the map, making sure the street doesn't get hit through. These players start to fall. One spawns out. This could be the opening for Full Sail.
Toddy Doe, big kill, front side apartment windows. Sees more at range, but is overwhelmed. Semtex would have gotten the job done, but Frequency didn't. So Roar wants to get back to the hard point. Cut down. How are you not going to watch apartment buildings there? That is a catastrophic meltdown. Full Sail now from the front. Looking good, but Toddy saves the day. Curb holding his life the entire way, looking for kill number 5 in a row. Will retreat back to safer confines up top in the police department as the rest of Liberty Red team will just move right through lobby. What a play that is to break back in.
Like our good friend Morgan Dunn once said, it's Toddy and the boys. He's starting to heat up, 19 and 12 now. That two-piece was just absolutely massive because like you said, his teammates kind of a bit of a breakdown, creating those crazy spawns. He's able to come on through this apartment building and find two, get them back on this point, and they need this final 15 seconds. But another cross-map rotation. We saw the success Full Sail had the first time around. They were able to get a huge chunk of time. And again, you're going to have a player, number 6 in Breezy, going all the way back to make sure nobody hits this long route.
Wow. That is a massive influence. And it comes almost at the exact same time in Raid. How many times did we say, you know, oh, things are about to get really dangerous here? When we were talking about it on Raid, it was for Liberty's favor. That time it was for Full Sail's favor, trying to break through apartments. Oh boy. So now a dead even game, all things considered. Toddy once more breaking through. He's 21 and 13, nearly doubled up. The next closest on his team when it comes to kills overall.
And a huge kill that time from Roar to get that player playing the backside. That creates the close spawn. Now you can get on the hill, but all of a sudden, 2 back in favor of Full Sail. They're going to be pushing around the back. Roar finds that kill. That's massive. Toddy's going to just be able to camp out on the hill and soak up this time. He's got players from both angles to worry about. He's going to go down. 15 seconds left. Go ahead and give that over to Full Sail. Get your setup over on the street side and try to get this close bank spawn.
Oh boy. I mean, the hard points between these two teams could not be any closer. Toddy still finding a way to go off Void, sitting there doing whatever he can to try to match him, but that's just 15 and 14 to the 23 and 15. I mean, goodness gracious, put a leash on him. Void, though, still running through gold. Get a couple in a row. Beautiful kill from Sneaky. That'll clear off all of the pressure off the flank from Liberty, and it will force them actually to spawn right in front of Full Sail. Opportunity for Frequency really to show up, but now it's going to be the ARs that really light things up for LU Red. Breezy trying to stay safe. Trophy to assist in the effort, but shots skipping underneath the car will be good for the elimination, but the ARs for Full Sail still win the hard point. 27 seconds to play for, and Liberty really have to consider conceding this in order to win the rotation to P1.
Yeah, you're just spawning into gunfire right now. If you're Liberty, you had Mental try to hit that long route. Not going to pay off in the end. This is huge stuff for Full Sail. They're going to get a solid chunk here on P4. We go back to P1. And there was so much control last time in this area that Void's in for Liberty Red, but it's actually flipped on its head this time around. Huge stuff as they make their rotation. Liberty's unable to zone it out. The rotation's going to be fairly simple for Full Sail. They're right onto the point. Void trying to find more on this little 2-kill streak. Don't even worry about that player. It's Eskies. You had to be worried about Curb, who gets some good timing, slides on in. He's trying to focus those spawns. Not going to get him. So this could be huge for Full Sail as they pick up the P2 spawns.
Oh, boy. Really good stuff right now from Full Sail. But Liberty's kills clean. 3 in a row. Full Sail trying to hold on to the P2 side, but the pressure from Liberty through the middle of the hard point will actually force Full Sail to spawn up top by Eskies. But nobody seems to read that again from Liberty. Void walks on in for a free first kill. nearly had a chance to flank around for a mini pinch onto a second, but is denied, and all of the attention for all of these arrows are going back towards the police department. Breezy trying to work his way up. It's Curb up top, and this 1v1 could determine what happens on the hard point, and it very well could determine what happens in the map, and Curb takes it cleanly. Void does sneak through lobby, but only for a short time. Roar are able to get through, and that'll be a full 4-man wipe in favor of Liberty. They'll open up the second hard point in their favor.
Massive, and number 3, Mental spawns up over by ASMD. He's going to tell his teammates that these guys are spawning up by the street. Got to be paying attention to that, or he should be at least, as Toddy's the first one to go down. All 4 players for Full Sail are going to be trying to push around the street. Curb repositions himself well. He's finding 2. Roar with another. 3 down in the feed. Curb working on streaks as well. This is huge for Liberty. They regain the lead. They're starting to extend it. Still 40 seconds to hold on to here. Has nobody for Full Sail finding an opening.
Curb up top, looking for the double down. Not going to be gifted the kill, but you have to remember that this is not win condition here for Liberty. Full Sail wants to try to keep this game close, but you have to keep in mind what's going to happen on the rotation. Scrap 15 seconds will be generated here from Liberty. But on the way, you've got Full Sail members on this rotation that will be in your exact line of sight. Frequency will be spawning out. He does not find anything. 239 is where it stalls. Full Sail need to hold, and very well done for Frequency to hold on to his respawn to make sure he spawns up with his squad mates.
Oh, this is so massive right now. 1 break Skull's going to take, and might as well use the streaks right away. Void's going to find 2 kills as he's in the laptop, but he's able to trade it out with 1 onto Breezy. The close spawn still going to come through for Full Sail, so they should be in a good spot, but it's a race to the hill right now. Mental finding 1 near elbow. Trying to just waste some time, and Sneaky goes down on the hill. That's the opening that Liberty's looking for, and this is the closing moment.
It's looking very solid. It's going to have to be a break from the front. Breezy's not going to do anything. Well, Curb unfortunately kills himself, but it will be really a moot point. Liberty. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's the break from Toddy by himself on P2. Everything looking great from Full Sail until Toddy. This is actually another one of his big plays through the first hard point that he again keeps Liberty in the mix. Beautiful stuff, and all of a sudden we've got a map 5.
All of a sudden we have a map 5, and it's anybody's ball game. I also want to point out that P3, it felt like for Full Sail 2 times in a row, they get solid holds there. They're able to get themselves back into the game with that point alone, and then right there at the end, Liberty only needs 11 points. They come right on through. They get that break. The streaks obviously were pretty big. But for Full Sail, the 3rd time just was not the charm. And in that final moment, that last break is what's going to force this to a map 5 where, oh my goodness, it's so difficult to pick who's going to come out on top of this one. Like you said, they've been so evenly matched in the hard points, but in the search and destroy, it was pretty one-sided. So
we said 2 respawns, man. We said that Full Sail needs to take 2 respawns. They have not done that so far. And for both teams, like you mentioned, have been relatively about the same when it comes to their search. It all comes down to a Moscow eventually. We'll take a look because the round of 32 has started here in the eastern regions, and that means that we've got one that we can tune into on the Charlie stream. Ole Miss going up against our prior winners and upsetters of Laurentian Esports. Things still looking pretty solid, and this is a really important matchup. Again, we talk about you take down a tough opponent in front of you in round number 1, your upper bracket becomes a lot easier. Ole Miss, who got blessed with Ohio State not being able to play, this is a match to get into the round of 16 for either the 7th seed for Ole Miss or the 6th seed for Laurentian Esports. That's not common.
No, not at all. It's a big opportunity. I think I just go back to every time I see Laurentian play, it's always these K1 brothers who are dominating. And they're a momentum kind of team. When they can play back-to-back games, it's going to be so helpful for them when they're just coming off a 3-0. They're going to carry it right in here. You already have K1, 22 and 11. These guys just, they break their sprint buttons. They are constantly running at you. They constantly put pressure in your face. They're so difficult to play against. And you see Ole Miss right now trying to find a breath of air as they get in onto the kitchen hill. They're going to have to make another long rotation, though. Laurentian's probably not too upset about this positioning.
Oh, man. Laurentian Esports keeping the kills through kitchen. A lot of pressure to the middle of the map. 20 seconds of scrap time here in P2. And you already see a couple of members have already made their way over. And Doom has been playing so darn well, just being scrappy, trying to finesse the scrap time as much as humanly possible, which eventually goes the way of Ole Miss. But I mean, that's not going to be good enough for too much. I mean, you get a couple of conceded points at the end, but you've got to find a way to break over towards this garage hard point in which LU Esports is fully locking down at the moment. They've got ARs and SMGs still surrounding over through driveway. K1, K2 showing up in the kill feed favorably. K2 another double, and LU Esports in a prime position to potentially even put the game away here in Garage.
Yeah, they get a fortunate spawn, and they're not the kind of team that lets you even get close to the hill. They push on up. They force these lines to be even further away from the hill. The Kill Cannon brothers continue to find them. 25 seconds left as they do go down. You still only have one player on the point, but the spawn's going to be... This is just the closing moments right now. Ole Miss, they just can't find any way to get even close to the point here on the Garage.
Still plenty of time to come through. Clean kill feed, and look at the K brothers moving across the map, trying to zone off any potential contestant. LU Esports still in a position where they have not dropped a map. 250 on the board for them, in really good position. And well, we'll swap right on over in just a moment to take a look at the search and destroy map 5 between LU Red and Full Sail Armada.
Thing I'll say, Laurentian, watch out. We talk about those dark horses. They really feel like one of those to me. Just the way those twin brothers can carry a match. They absolutely can make a run in this thing, and they are already proving that right now. 4 straight maps.
Well,
now we
okay.
go to the interesting one.
Yeah. And, you know, it's just one of those things that we have to remember that we credited Full Sail for some of their creativity they were able to showcase on Miami. You have to wonder how much will be built into their playbook here for Moscow onto their offense. We'll find out maybe here. But this is not all that creative. Pretty common, actually. 4-man stack immediately over towards A. 2 defense members that are here for Liberty. And you need to find at least 1 kill if you're LU. Full Sail holding off, and how about it? Dan will provide right when it's asked. Long flank coming on the back from Toddy. Full Sail need to either push into lobby here collectively or turn around for this flank. It looks like they want to go forward. This comes down to will they actually get there in time. Curb moving up the escalators has found an opening, and he will actually grab another elimination with the Semtex. No requirement for Roar to make much out of the flank. It just comes down to frequency. He drops. LU Red holds strong.
Yeah, and it's really a timing-based push there on offense. Once you have that first player go down, you have to start to make your next move right away, because these players on the back end get an opportunity to come around and flank. Curb finds one and the second one as well. It's a moment where for Full Sail, right when you lose that first life, you probably just have to fully commit, push right into the apartments and try to trade it back out. They kind of hesitate a little bit, creates that window for the players to flank around the back end, and they tie things up one apiece.
Good stuff from Roar. I mean, he's been great when it comes to first bloods. I mean, especially defensively. It feels like that was the main reason that Miami stayed as, well, I wasn't say as close as it was. It wasn't close by score, but when it came to the live count, that was definitely a more serious consideration. A couple of the clutch up requirements from Full Sail to exit away with a very favorable 6-1 overall tally. But offense for Liberty, I was about to say, you know, for as good as we can talk about Roar with first bloods defensively, offensively, they've been really stagnant, and well, now they'll have to find a way to make a 3v4 occur with 60 seconds on the clock.
Trying to make a decision here. They're going to go back on over to A, where it's 2v3, so this is definitely a potential to work out for him. Void's going to be the first one to get the information, and rightfully so, going to try to back up with his life. Instead, he retakes the challenge onto Toddy, who was a little bit hurt. That's huge right there. 4v2. Mental last alive. These players flooding on out, though. Careful. Finds the first on a Breezy. Got the information onto Void. It's going to be difficult as he goes down to low health. Falls as well. And again, yeah, like you said, Alan, you lose that first life, and then all of a sudden it becomes a coin flip. Where are we going to go? Do we go to B? Do we go to A? They try to go back to A. And these players are ready for it. Really good stuff defensively to get the first blood again.
It just feels like for Liberty, all of the offensive rounds that we've seen between Miami and the small instances we've seen here in Moscow, it does feel like they're trying to read the layout and then make the call and hope that they can play for picks. I mean, Curb and Roar have 4 kills between them of the 5 that Liberty in total has. Not many of them have been offensively found whatsoever. So, I mean, yeah, I'm just kind of interested to see what's going to happen here for LU Red when it gets back to their offense, because they have been very slow, very stagnant, and they have not been finding this kind of play for pick strategy with much success. Defensively, it's been fine. I mean, don't change that. Toddy finds first blood. Curb will get cut up by the backside of the boulevard, which means that Toddy has to try to find another elimination, but will not be gifted the opportunity. And as frequency puts himself on 3 in a row, Full Sail carry numbers into this offensive look at B.
Yeah, Toddy gets a little over aggressive there, and it's going to cost his team maybe in the end here, because now 3v2. Although Void here near mid might be getting some information on Demental, it's more so a 2v2 if these players They're going to try to retake B. Instead, they're going to let them plant the bomb. They're looking for a pick to try to even the odds. Void is in a really tricky spot right now, as he could get some information on the Mental. He's not going to get it. The bomb will go down. Now you have to start to make your move if you're Liberty Red. Pushing on up. Mental's going to be faced with Frequency here. AR versus SMG. That should be an easy win. So now all of a sudden 2v2, but Void could be the one to make a big play as he rotates around. Breezy makes it a 2v1. Mental's going to get the shots into Void. Last player alive is Breezy. He knows where he is. 1v1. Still 25 seconds to work with, Alan.
It resets, though. The fight goes back to full HP. Mental over towards the outside. Breezy not going to get the snapper. Time for Mental to get the defuse as well. 3 in a row, and we stay all defense thus far. Huge play, though, from Mental to get the isolated kill through Laundry and then back up, reset, and save just enough time for the final 1v1.
I go back to Void as well. He's hanging out near mid, trying to catch a player off guard who might be rotating through, but they both rotate back through their side from A to B. Proves to be huge for him because Void doesn't find anything. Then he's kind of late to the party trying to show up, and all of a sudden it puts his teammates in more of a 2v2 where they're able to find some kills. Mental then gets in the 1v1 and wins it in a big-time clutch play, but I really think for Void, he might have wanted to stay closer to his teammates to just create a better trade opportunity. Instead, they kind of separate themselves a bit, and it creates an opportunity for the defense to retake.
Unreal. And how about this? Liberty not going to be slow or stagnant this round. Huge hit coming right through Eskies. The only defensive members here for Full Sail are largely going to be stacked right on top of the bomb, and they're not going to find a single elimination, having to back away as Sneaky, and that's going to lead to a free plant. And Frequency, who considered a flank, is going to second guess himself and instead play to the middle of the map alongside his teammate for this 2v4.
Yeah, I almost wish he would have continued the flank, but instead his teammates are going to buddy up here, try to play some trades off of each other. Nobody moving right now on the other side. Toddy's hurt there, had to lay down. He's going to fall, but then these AR players able to pick up the kills. And I agree with you, Alan, at the start of the round. I really think for Liberty, this is the push that you should be doing almost every round. You have, it feels like, the gunplay advantage. Like Toddy and Mental, just let them be the first ones to run on through. They should be able to trade each other out. Feels to me like there should be no reason to even think about B, think about being indecisive. Just go ahead and commit to A almost every single round, and you should win those gunfights.
Oh, man. Saw there for a moment. It looked like there was going to be maybe a lineup opportunity to make those numbers a bit more even, but I mean, it's just so tough. I mean, if you're Full Sail and you're trying to play aggressively onto the A site on for your defense, you got to make sure there are trades. That's like rule number 1 of an aggressive defense. Does not come through. Speaking of aggressive defenses, how about Curve? Aggressive angle, but gets cut down by Void. Mental really can't challenge that, but Sneaky never looks to his left. I don't think in a million years Full Sail would have expected 2 players to be pushed up Eskies like that. And it leaves us with a 3v3, but the B-bomb site is wide open for the taking. Frequency trying to watch the rotation. Not going to catch Mental on the timing. So even though the bomb is planted, numbers still prevail for Liberty for the time being.
And I was just getting ready to say, I wonder if Void might learn from the mistake last time and try to play a little closer to his teammate. They are still a little bit spread out, but this could actually work out when they don't have the life advantage. He's going to see Mental. Shot's not going to be there. He gets doubled up on, and it leaves everything up to Breezy. 1 and 5 so far in this game in a big spot, trying to play the time with the bomb. Toddy's going to win the gunfight out. It's a nice retake there from Liberty. Again, I kind of start to wonder if once the bomb's down there, you might want to get a little closer to your teammate. Either way, Liberty, great retake there. They go up 4-2 now. Starting to pull away with this one.
I think you have to respect the play from Frequency just to go prone in a pretty off angle, just essentially saying, I'm just not going to let anybody rotate from the backside of the A site, but he loses the gunfight, and then all of a sudden your entire setup just falls into shambles.
Yeah, it's just one huge gunfight that maybe is improbable that Frequency wins. Yeah, and that's enough to kind of throw everything into a spiral. So, really, not the worst plays in the world. I don't know. It just feels like a couple times there for Void. He might have been a little too far out from his teammates, but either way, they're going to have to regain here. All of a sudden, a 4-2 advantage for Liberty Red.
And how about this attack? 4 players into the middle of the map. Full Sail will push not just through A, but also with Frequency through B. They're going to fully surround Liberty in the middle of the map, and they should know that they're sitting somewhere around gold. Frequency good for the first blood. Mental, I think, was just trying to play for streaks, but maybe getting a little bit too cute with this. As him and Frequency are a sniff away from one another. Sneaky pushing through the boulevard that was vacated. Will find another elimination, but does still drop Full Sail's defense all over the map. I mean, again, I don't know what you do. If you're Liberty, you're sitting your thing like, wait a second, there's nobody in the middle of the map. Where do we want to go? And that moment of consideration leads to Full Sail completely enveloping and surrounding them.
Yeah, it's like a boa constrictor. You're completely strangled in there. I don't think you'd be expecting two players to hit that long route. Frequency and Void here have been the ones winning this round, and now it's all up to one player. He's going to fall as well. Yeah, I just think as that one player dies, you're probably thinking, oh, this one guy just hit the flank route. He's in from behind. You would not be expecting two. It's just big brain plays to hit the aggressive defensive. And that's exactly what wins them the round. All of a sudden, Liberty Red let that one slip back to 4-3.
Big bounce back round for Full Sail, but the job is by no means done yet. Would love to get this offense online because let's be honest, they're going to have to win an offense at some point in time as Liberty, with their A-hit, eventually was able to kind of break up this defensive monotony we've had so far in this map 5. And Full Sail will go right back to what they tried in round number 1, but with the safety of a trophy this time. Stuns, nades being exchanged ceremoniously. First blood again. It's Roar on the outside of the map, able to take down Frequency. You called his name. You said he needed to be big, and so far he's got 6 and 5 overall in his stat line, which is not bad, but it's still the fact that Roar defensively keeps winning these 1v1s.
Some moments where he's just not playing his life correctly. We saw this exact situation earlier in the game where First Blood went over to Liberty. These guys kind of just halted a little bit. It slowed them down too much, where you really have to kind of bang out this apartment building, get that trade. Exactly what Sneaky's able to do onto Roar. Still have 2 players to deal with there, but this bomb's going to go down. You have to think at least one more in the apartment side. Where is this other player coming from? Trying to hit the flank. Mental, getting aggressive. First kill onto Breezy. Huge. Curb finds another. And it's all into the hands of Void.
What? I mean, okay, wait a second. Void with 2. One more. Around the corner at Eskies. He finds the 1v3 to clutch up the offense for Full Sail. Absolutely required of him. Unbelievable. Good trigger discipline. The transfer perfect. Just enough in the tank to close out the third.
And if he watches this back and hears my criticisms of him camping in corners on different rounds separated from his teammates, he's going to say, well, go back and watch that one because it paid off huge that time. Hiding in the corner. Nobody knows he's there. Chooses the perfect time to make his move. Comes around. That huge 2-piece. And then the third sprinting around the corner. Massive plays to draw this one back up. Would have been a closeout round here for Liberty. Instead, 4-4. And it's going to be Liberty back on offense. Huge moments for Full Sail. They could win this next defense.
What a huge play. 5 in a row as well for Void. But Curb, First Blood offensively. That's actually through B. And with that being the only defensive member, look what that does to number 5. Sneaky's going to have to play all the way to the back of the police department. This will lead to a 4v slim numbers, no matter which bomb site you want to go to for Liberty. The only thing you can ask is for them to commit to where they want to go and do it together.
Yeah, absolutely. Do not separate too much and let them get some easy picks. Sneaky is really going to be playing that position strong and just trying to find some information for his teammates who are... I like the move to hold down A because you have to think they could be going there with the life advantage. Right now they're in mid, maybe thinking about a decision on which one they want to go to. Could be thinking about pushing up Eskies as this player pushes away. That's going to be perfect timing for the offense. Now you have a 4-on-1.
The problem is Sneaky cannot watch the middle of the map, so Breezy has to go back to it. Void does still find 1 elimination. That would get him 6. And I don't know, that might be enough for an artillery strike, maybe, but I don't know if we'll really answer that into the conversation yet. Liberty looking for the reverse sweep in the round of 64 opening matchup are on 1 round away from doing just that.
Audi. Massive kills on the back end. He's been really confident all game long. I mentioned that I almost compare him to an Abizi. First player into the room. He's never afraid to take a challenge. He's really been huge in doing that for his teammates. Although 6 and 6, a lot of that comes because people are trading out whenever he dies. That time able to find those final 2 kills, absolutely massive. And for Full Sail, that felt like a big opportunity to win an offense and be 1 round away. Instead, you lose it. Now you got to go back onto offense to try to tie this one back up. This isn't going to be easy.
3 members defensively here. Roar playing a bit more aggressively this time, but Mental gets caught trying to peek over through Eskies. If they can isolate Roar to the side, it should be an opportunity for them to get the plant down over towards A. Lurking long as Frequency. He's trying to come up the middle of the map, and if he can find Toddy, it would be great for the effort, and there it is. The kill comes through just as spoken into existence, and Roar, well, he's going to be finding himself to a 1v4 situation. He's 1 to the statue. He's got a little bit of a lineup. Oh my goodness. Full Sail's lives just flashed before my eyes with that little lineup, but we will go to a map 5, round 11 to get through the round of 64, either in reverse sweep fashion or to deny that. All comes down to this round.
When you say lineup on Moscow, I'm sure there's Optic fans in the chat having PTSD.
There's a shiver up their spine for sure.
But either way, it's going to come down to round 11. And for Full Sail, you have defense, but you have to be ready for Liberty to just punch this right down your throat. They've done it all game long, been so confident today, and that's what they're going to go back to here.
But Void's going to get aggressive. Does he get caught out? He does. And a second kill comes through. Liberty looking solid. Breezy not going to get away. It's just down to frequency. It would have to be a 1v4 to stop the reverse sweep. Bomb will be planted for free. And I just don't know what you do here if you're frequency. He needs to find some bless, but Toddy will just give a little bit of a wiggle just to see the information. Tags will be through. Frequency being overwhelmed. Falls. Liberty Red deny the upset. They confirm the reverse sweep, and it takes all 5 maps and every single search round possible.
Incredible series, Alan. I mean, we said it, Full Sail. It felt like probably had to close it out in that map 3. That was a big opportunity. It goes down the stretch, and oftentimes I think when you get to around 11, it's probably favorable to be on defense. But for Liberty there, they had probably pretty happy to get offense. They know that A had been working all game long. And for Full Sail, you're probably expecting it. You saw Void try to get a little aggressive and make a play. He ends up going down his first blood, kind of costs him in the end. Liberty just so confident in A. They take it right there, right down the throat, and they score the touchdown.
Unbelievable scenes. That is a round of 64 matchup, friends. We had 2 hard points that came down to the wire, a control that was all defense, and then a round 11 map 5. Could not ask for more. But for Full Sail, they'll be kind of scratching their heads and wondering what went wrong on map 3. They had a really good opportunity to 3-0, but that gets denied and the reverse sweep gets completed. Still ongoing as the round of 32. And over on our Charlie stream, we're watching currently Laurentian Esports just having their way with Ole Miss. 5-2 up, and it just comes down to 1. It's Mensa for a 1v3, and he's going to be required to also find a defusal as Obito is going to get the bomb down, no problem.
LU really like this raid search and destroy for this reason exactly, too. They're so good at taking control of B and getting this plant. Actually, another mistake on my part. That's twice now. I swear that's so annoying. But Ole Miss, they actually win at 6-2. So
the colors are backwards. That was LU. We're good.
But
the overlay was right. The colors are wrong.
Okay. So I am right. LU really just commanding on raid search and destroy. They've been so good at taking over B. It's a play you see from a lot of teams in the pro scene. Toronto Ultra, they've been doing that a lot. I think a lot of teams are starting to find some success there. If you can get that top laundry control, so hard to break. It's exactly what LU do there. They continue what has been a red-hot start to this tournament. They're 5 straight maps in a row.
Drop the map. Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
Dark horse.
Wild scenes.
Maybe not so dark.
Absolutely. I mean, not so dark anymore. Cinderella on top of that dark horse, apparently. But we will be heading things over to a break here in a moment. But before we do, hey, it's getting a little warmer outside. You might need to be thinking about your fall semester apparel. Why not check out the CCL Armory if you're trying to rep the CCL in and out of game? You can now. CCL Armory is live. You can gear yourself up with all of your apparel essentials, including hoodies, tees, joggers, hats, even polos for all you business majors out there. Head on over to collegecod.com/store to browse all of our CCL apparel options today. Did you get any apparel, Camper, by chance?
I got a hoodie. I'm going to have to get a polo as well, because you pull up to the golf course and you see somebody repping CCL merch. You're like, all right, it's chalk. It's chalk.
Yeah, dude. I'm not even going to 1v1 me all over the field.
Exactly. I know this guy's going to be drilling some putts today because he's absolutely locked in. Yeah, I got a sweatshirt. Unbelievable merch. The champion collab. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, dude.
Fire.
It's
fire.
It's everything we've ever wanted and then some. But we're going to set things up for our next main focus here for the mainstream. Round of 32 action still trying to get underway. So we'll step away for just a brief moment. We'll get everything kind of laid out. We'll come back, take a look at the bracket, and also what's happening in with that map 3 that'll be happening before Laurentian and Ole Miss in that round of 32. More CCL playoffs coming up. Do not go anywhere.